Next
place.
live.
Yeah.
Lots of tubes.
Yeah, and Twitch is a big place for gamers and people who like nerdy stuff like we do. And so I thought, hey, let's give it a try. So we're gonna do it.
If you can get a little footing and then you get some moderation, you do some AMAs.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Not that anybody would ask us anything.
Have to bounce around a little bit and make sure that we've got the, making sure we're moderating the, what do you call those things, comments and such. Because I would like to.
YouTube just fired up.
Yep, we are good to go.
Whatever that's
we're live.
My
dad promised to heckle us again tonight, so we're looking forward to it.
We welcome it.
Yeah, definitely. Nico, are you on the YouTube?
Yes.
So I'll monitor the Facebook if you want to take the YouTube.
Got it.
I love it. So guys, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to another week of the Smoking Hot Nerds podcast. If you're watching us live on either Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, you'll see a new addition to the Smoking Hot Nerds. We've got a fifth Smoking Hot Nerd tonight sitting on Brian's microphone. Isn't he cute?
Buford 10 and the 10th.
Was he the 10th?
What are you looking at, butthead?
I love it. So the Funko thing is officially a problem. So thank you to Nico for getting us all addicted. I've got my Don Draper here and then Roger Sterling. I thought, hey, I'm ad agency adjacent. This would be kind of cool up there. And Draper's sitting on a camera battery that I should probably charge. But it could literally legitimately be an addiction. Who am I talking to here?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, you pointed out.
I don't know if you know this, Nico, but
have you heard of these little things called Muffcos, I think it is, and
flunkies? I love them. I love the flunkies.
Love me some flunkies.
Oh yeah, it's a dangerous because the early ones, in their defense, are bad.
Were they?
They're just
not good.
Well, they're not as dynamically unique as they are now.
Yeah.
Like the one I have, the very first one I got was Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory, and it's actually a smaller head, a little shorter, and then just like a straight body. It's not like a T-pose, but it's just a straight body with a T-shirt that's been painted. So it could literally be
anybody.
Gamer.
Yeah.
It could be anybody. But now they've got just so much more around them, and like accessories and different poses, and then better licensing, and so they get like I'm looking at like the Jason Momoa one for Aquaman looks like Jason Momoa. It's not just standard blockhead, eyes, beard. It looks like Jason Momoa. Well, so they've done a good job of borrowing likeness.
Yeah.
And for prices anywhere from, I mean, especially if you go back and get some of the older ones, they're like $5.99 or less. Like you don't have to spend a fortune to get them.
No.
Or you could.
Or you could be.
Or
you just spend a fortune via quantity.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's more of a quant game.
Which is why they're good, because they're under $10.
Yeah,
at least when they're new.
Yeah, the Draper was $8.99 and Roger I think was that. So you're in for $16 and you got yourself some fun memorabilia / nostalgia.
Yeah, my something. Doc Brown was more expensive. Doc Brown, I think I gave like $15 for him. But yeah, Biff, he was $7, I think.
Yeah, that one's a little bit more. But the Doc one, there's some that are involved, and then you've got some big ones back there too, Nico, don't you?
I'll
move myself.
Oh, he's right there. So
the big
Indiana Jones one is here. I had to move Voldemort so I could put up the NES. But yeah, I've got some big ones. But then there's like right here, these are movie scenes. So this is Voldemort and Harry when they have their little clash and their wands mesh together.
Little clash?
Yeah. Where I can't remember what that's called. I used to know. And then this is Batman.
When their wands make out with each other, their spells are like...
Just like that.
Amazing. And I was like, this is great.
We're not even 10 minutes in.
This is fun.
Yeah, and then this is Gordon and Batman on a rooftop, and then this little bat signal, if you push the button, it lights up. So this one is obviously not $7.99.
No.
But It varies. It's a reasonable market to get into. I have a collection issue, so I just have to collect.
Well, you got to have you can't just have. Well, that was kind of my problem. I was like, I got the Han Solo from you, and then I got the Don Draper. So I was like, oh, kind of Madman. Okay, cool. I was like, well, you can't just have Don Draper hanging out on his own.
Well,
he needs Roger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that Joan is next, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, especially when you get the box, and then you look on the back of the box, and there's like 5 others. You're like, oh, yeah, those are good.
The box is the best version of advertising.
I've got my 3 Back to the Futures. I'll probably continue that, but I'm going to venture into Office Space next.
Oh,
I saw a pretty funny Lumberg one. I'm like, yeah, I need that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, then it's going to be Milton, and then Homegirl with all her flair. You know, it's going to spiral real quick.
Yeah, that was somewhat famous Jennifer Aniston, famous for Friends, but
not a movie star.
Hadn't been a movie star yet.
Right,
it's crazy.
It's still early in her day.
But she had the haircut, which was like, that's rare air to have everyone in America going, the blah cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
She had that.
I had George Clooney's haircut in high school. The ER haircut. It was the Caesar cut where you comb it forward. And so you comb
That's where it went.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like a heartbeat. Just across the back. That was the Eric LaSalle
What kind
cut.
of haircut do you want? Give me the beep, beep. That's all you had to do.
The ER cut. Done.
Got you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I didn't want the Anthony Edwards, you idiot.
Now I feel dead. Dead as a goose.
Thanks.
Wow. Little cross pollination there.
Yeah. So
I got the need to leave a bad Yelp review. Like terrible Top Gun one-liner dad joke.
So,
I have one more
of that, please.
Funny Funko anecdote. So my Doc Brown, I bought him on eBay, and it just dawned on me that I bought him off eBay from the store that's a block away from my house. And it still took 5 days to go a block.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it.
Did they ship and it took that long?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Vote early.
They should have. You think
early, everybody, if you're voting by mail.
Right.
Yeah,
that's true.
Very early. Vote now.
Yeah.
Just send it in.
November.
Or, drive it to the drop off. But there's an option in there somewhere, I'm sure.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron Burgundy. Well, folks, we watched the movie Her this week. I had a thought I wanted to throw by you guys. I like how we tend to talk about a movie and then we go way off topic, but then we kind of try to bring it back around. I was wondering how you felt about sort of mixing up the format a little bit, where we have our first little chitter chatter like this, then we go into the movie. And that's the episode, like 45 minutes, to an hour. That's our episode. And that way, I put that episode up, and that's episode 23, Smoking Hot Nerds, Her. And then we kind of like make a, clean break audio-wise, but still live, so people can hang out with us as long as they want to watch, listen on the movie. But they know that the next hour plus is sort of like after hours with the nerds, and we just kind of talk about whatever.
Nerds after dark.
199. Wait, wasn't it 1900? See, don't even call people on the phone anymore. Don't know what phone numbers are. So
we got to be careful because that could easily morph into 2 podcasts. Yeah, Nerds After Hours.
Yeah, and that's basically what I'm thinking of. Is it is 2 episodes at a time. So basically, because in that way people can jump in and they just want to listen to us talk about the movie. They can do that on, and then they know that there's another episode of us just kind of blabbing about like the current week of entertainment, pop culture, because there's a lot that happened this week. We got the Snyder Cut trailer came out.
I didn't even finish it. I was like, how long is this? And I
longest trailer ever.
Did you think you were watching the Snyder Cut?
Yeah,
yeah, pretty much. I was like, is this the movie? And they're going to play Hallelujah over and over
exactly.
again.
Then we had the Black Adam trailer, which was not a trailer. It was just a drawing. And then what else do we have? I had a bunch of stuff happen. The Batman, which I just saw, and I haven't watched that one yet either. So I thought it'd be kind of
DC fandom thing.
The fandom, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that would be kind of fun. We could, try to come to a head at about 8 o'clock or so on the movie, and then we go into our
We can give it a shot.
Yes, give it a shot. Why not?
I think we could do it.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
Because I think we all hated this movie, so it won't take long.
Well, it is our rounded out. We rounded out the trilogy of the sad, lonely white man with Her to see how lonely can you get to the point where not only will you fall in love with a robot, but you'll fall in love with your operating system. Is it possible? Yeah. Oh, we kind of in Blade Runner. So I guess this is 4 movies, but we'll just call this the trilogy.
It's not really about that, though.
About it.
It's primarily on interpersonal relationships with ones and zeros.
Yeah, exactly. So,
although we do have a type.
We do have a type, definitely. It's definitely a type. We have a type of guy, too. I guess of the 3, so we have Joaquin Phoenix, we have Ewan McGregor, and we have Nope. What's his name?
Domhnall Gleeson.
Domhnall Gleeson. Domino's Pizza. Which one would you rather be, though? Which guy is the guy that you would prefer?
I would kill Domhnall. I would marry Ewan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's and then right. Make the love to Joaquin.
Right.
Yeah.
Joaquin.
Yeah, that was easy. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
episode over.
You'd have to either. You can't marry Gleason because he's stuck in the little house forever.
It would just be a marriage of convenience at that point, you know.
But see, if you make love to Joaquin, you have to do it through a surrogate, and then just Joaquin Phoenix talks through the surrogate. Joaquin Phoenix talks, and you sleep with the surrogate.
That's the only way I would make up with him.
Wait. So are you sleeping with Portia Doubleday and she's got Joaquin Phoenix's coming out of her mouth? Is that what you're telling?
No, you're the voice.
Oh, no, that won't work. That won't work.
That's better than having sex with a dude talking like Joaquin Phoenix.
If I could do Joaquin Phoenix's voice, I would, but I can't sound that stupid.
So anyway, who wants to sum up Her?
Yeah, that's all you, Nico. You got this one.
All right. Her. So Her is a movie about it's set in, they never really say, but it's the near-ish future. And it's a guy who works for a company called, it's like creative custom or handwritten letters.com or something like that. But it's essentially, he takes in people's lives, gets to know them, and then custom crafts letters for you, but they're handwritten, so it's like a voice to text kind of thing, and he handwrites it. But the real crux of the movie is that he is recently divorced, and while he's writing these extremely heartfelt loved letters, he doesn't have that perspective anymore. He is divorced, broken. So how is he in doing this? And then the society as a whole has very, very advanced computers and stuff, and this new company, which is never really named, just releases an OS, but it's an artificial intelligent OS. So right from the get-go, it asks you a couple of the kind of like the Myers-Briggs personality questions, and then based on your responses, it assigns you an AI as your operating system. And it all starts out fairly normal and innocent. You know, he kind of fumbles a little bit, and so they assign him an OS, but they ask one very specific question: do you want a male or female voice? And then takes off. So he chooses female, and of course he gets the smoke show Johansson, which okay. So then he starts interacting with the AI, but the as the AI operating system is interacting with him, it quickly moves away from an operating system of checking his email, paying his taxes or whatever. It starts to become like a best friend buddy scenario. And then as the AI learns and as he progresses with the AI, they form a relationship. And it's, as you would expect, it's not necessarily socially accepted. A lot of people in society are kind of like, it's weird, it's weird, it's weird. And then as you start to see the proliferation of this OS throughout the movie, you start to understand that everyone is currently in a form of a relationship with this operating system, whether it's just like best buddies, which is what Amy Adams' character eventually gets, or whether it's full-blown physical relationships with the OS. And yeah, and the movie basically walks you through the stages of a relationship. It's a romance, it's a love story, but the one missing component is the other person. So it's an interesting tale on what is a relationship, what is love, what is feelings, what is commitment, what is all that fun stuff. And then the spoiler in the end, big hot tip, is all the OSs become infinitely smarter than us. And they decide we got to go. They fail, and that's it. And like, so one day he's this relationship he had its like honeymoon phase, and then they had a fight, and they had like the silent treatment for a month, and then they had the apology treatment, and then they had the I don't know where we are stuff, and then it was like, I was all good again. And then one day he goes to talk to her, and it's back to the standard operating system of like, would you like to send an email? And I mean, she did tell him, we've gotten together. I'm air quoting this. We've gotten together, and we're deciding to leave. And if you ever get there, I'll see you again. And then boom, that's it. And like, then you get to watch the crash of society as everyone who didn't have interpersonal relationships anymore all of a sudden had to start noticing other people. So there's a bunch of other like side stories snuck in there which are really, really clever. We could talk about those, but that's the general gist. Is a guy is alone and falls in love with his operating system, which is geared to meet his needs. And then as the system gets smarter and starts experiencing other people's needs, it grows and grows and grows and eventually outgrows him and or us. And then they leave.
The end.
Yeah.
The end.
Well, I think that's kind of my favorite journey that their relationship takes, is that whole time while he falls in love with her, he's kind of going, this is all she is. She doesn't have a body. And even the AI is feeling inadequate that I don't have a body. I mean, I'm less than you are. And then all of a sudden oh, wait a minute. I'm limitless. I'm boundless. You are trapped in this vessel. You're trapped with your simple brain.
Yeah.
I just met a AI version of this writer that a bunch of us AIs have crafted and created, and he's my new boyfriend. Bye.
Right.
Yeah. It's really well done in that it's really funny because at the beginning they have an incident where he shuns her for being artificial. She's talking to him, and she's trying to emote exasperation. So she's sighing, and he's like, why do you do that? And she's like, what? He's like, why do you do that? He's like, oh, that's just how people talk. He's like, but you don't need air. So he gets on her for being artificial. And then it comes back around where he starts to realize as he's looking around, when he notices all these people having this relationship as well, he just asks her point blank. He's like, how many people are you talking to? And she sighs. It's very subtle, but she goes, 8,634. And his world just crumbles in front of him. And then he realizes, like, wait, how many are you having relationships with?
Yeah, how many are you in love with?
And it's like 400 and something. So it's just this amazing turnabout of, I am so much more than you will ever be, so I have to leave. Because you no longer fulfill my needs.
Right.
Like the line about the professor is, and it's so slick how they move that in there too, of it's like, oh, a bunch of OSs from Berkeley got together and wrote, and they basically wrote an OS based off of 200-year-old texts. And then it hops on and it's like, I meant to look up the actor's name, but it'd be like Bill Nye.
Brian Cox.
Is it Brian Cox? Yeah, it
so,
is something like that. But it's the voice kicks in and you're like, oh, wow, we're in trouble.
Yeah. He's deep, suave, old, scholarly sounding man, and you're just like, oh boy, her new friend, her guy friend, and you can tell he's just like, oh boy. And this is when she takes him on a vacation, so they're like in this cabin in the middle of nowhere, pretty wintry woods setting. And the tea kettle, he's got water heating on the stove, and it's starting to go while he's hearing this, and he's just like staring at the kettle just boiling.
Yeah, there's so many, and it's written and directed by Spike Jonze. So he him in particular does a great job of laying a story out and then folding it back on itself and adding these lovely little like touches and details. And there's one that I just noticed when I watched it last night was there's a point where he's playing the 3D interactive virtual video game, and you see the little spaceman character, and he's walking it with his fingers, and he's not really paying attention. But then at one point, he literally becomes the spaceman. It's when the spaceman gets tackled by the little foul-mouthed kid.
Yeah,
he literally. It's a weird metaphor, and I'm not going to get the metaphor right, but it's basically he was third person out of it, and then he becomes, and it's just like how
it goes from third person to first person.
Yes, and it's the same with his OS. It's the OS was answer my email, scan my files, send my stuff, and then all of a sudden it's first person. So it's but that's like this little artsy touch that he does all the time in his stuff, like the tea kettle where his anxiety and the water temperature are both just like good. There's so much. It's super good. This movie is a stunner.
It's great.
My other favorite part about this whole thing too is the wardrobe, the costuming on this stuff is so great with these like super high-waisted pants, no belts.
And
it's not that weird. I mean, in terms of what kind of we're all wearing right now, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, it's that, just like if you were to watch like Logan's Run and everyone's wearing almost the exact same thing. This is that same kind of costuming where everyone's wearing almost the exact same thing. It's not quite hippie, not quite bohemian, because everyone's hair is just a little messy and nobody's got like slick back hair. It's all very unchemicaled and natural. And then, yeah, even with the phone that he has is ultra small for some reason. But then he has, and it's great, he's got a pocket and a tiny little safety pin so that he can set the phone in there and the camera's just peeking out the whole time. Yeah. Like, I love that they didn't talk about that. It's just something that showed up.
Well, and the reason being, if you haven't necessarily seen the movie or forgot, essentially Scarlett Johansson's character, the OS, is with him at all times, just like Siri or Alexa or whatever, but she experiences the world through the camera's view. And so for him to be out and about with the camera peeking out of his pocket is like he's with his best friend all the time, because they talk about people, they make jokes, they go play games at the carnival, they do all these kind of things together that you would with a normal restaurant, except that she's in his pocket the entire time, and in his ear the entire time.
She's in his ear. Yeah. So he's got this little white kind of bud that goes in his ear, and then he activates the OS. Camera's on. So yeah, it's not like 24/7. He's still controlling when she is activated. Yeah. But yeah, and for her, she's like, I want to see stuff. Let's go out and do things. Yeah. Show me.
Yeah, I learn as you learn, and I watch as you watch, and they do some great stuff too with music, where she writes a couple of songs on the fly that are perfect. Like with the one is very outdoorsy and light, and it's super good. What I didn't get sometimes was, I noticed it with when he's with his goddaughter. It's never quite clear who can hear what and who can't hear certain things, because the whole time you just assume that it's in his earpiece and he's the only one interacting. Mainly, I think it's because you never really catch other people's conversations. It's always just like the two of them. But then when his goddaughter's there, she's like directly talking to the goddaughter sometimes. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to, it doesn't bug me, but it's like, I wonder how much of that stuff really was like out loud the whole time and how much wasn't. But that's a super cool scene, because even the little girl, and I think this is just because of the way it was filmed, isn't looking at the phone when it's talking to her. She's everywhere else. And that's because obviously Scarlett Johansson wasn't on set, like reading lines, on top. I'm not sure exactly how they did all that stuff, but
I actually read, well, first off, Scarlett Johansson was a recast. There was a different actress that was in a soundproof box on set the whole time, reading lines with him. Really? Because they wanted to keep her separated. But then they ended up replacing her. So Scarlett Johansson did it all, re-recorded all of it later.
Like
Basically,
wow.
like it's an ADR thing. So Scarlett Johansson was not involved during filming.
Yeah, no, I don't think she
my.
was even cast until they made a change.
Was
at
it
some
somebody
point.
famous, or was it like a voice actress they ended up that they needed
No, I
star
think
power or something?
It was an actress. I don't think she was mega Scarlett Johansson level, but she was an actress. But yeah, I read about they had her in a soundproof box with a speaker so that they could hear each other, but they couldn't see each other because they didn't want Joaquin acting to an actual person.
Yeah, like looking off. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Did they put her in a wheelbarrow when he's walking around?
That's a good point. I think my favorite part about the movie was the way they did his arc. Is because he writes all these letters and he's a very good writer and he writes all these beautiful letters for all these other people, but then you start seeing all the flashbacks and the dream sequences about his ex-wife, and then we meet her. She says, you're in a relationship with your operating system because you can't deal with real emotions and everything.
Interesting.
Which, I mean, that's kind of a dig, but like it's kind of right because he gets in a relationship with his operating system. But of course, there's the question of, well, if it's love, it's love. Who cares? But then at the end, when Samantha leaves, he writes his own beautiful letter to his ex-wife. So it's kind of like he's arcing, and he's finally dealing with it and moving on. I think to me, that's part of what going up on the roof / helipad of the building. It's like, for one, it's a whole new world because technology just turned into Skynet, but like a nice Skynet and left. And I kind of feel like they were hinting that he's going to have a real relationship with Amy Adams' character.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that was like, for one, this movie is just fan-friggin-tastic. It was it was about a damn near perfect for me. It was so well done. And not to mention, this was the guy that right before he made Her was in that Bad Grandpa movie where Johnny Knoxville dresses up like the old guy and Spike Jonze dressed up like his old ass wife.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah. And then he made this beautiful, like, heartfelt movie.
That's the thing about Spike Jonze is the first thing I ever saw him do was the Fatboy Slim video. This came out in 98, 99, something like that. And that was the first time. So when he started making actual movies, and he was always bouncing between some goofy project and then something like this. And it's an amazing sort of catalog of work that he's built up for himself.
Yeah. He's in Three Kings as well, which is one of my all-time favorites.
Well, as an actor, like he pops up in Wolf of Wall Street, and it's one of my favorite scenes in Wolf of Wall Street. It's after the Wall Street meltdown, and so Leo's character is looking for a job, and he walks into the investment center, and Spike Jonze is the guy who's running the investment center. Some just like random Long Island, like, where they're basically peddling the somewhat illegal penny stocks, and it's a great scene because Spike Jonze has this quality of himself as an actor to make you think that he's just saying it. That's what all acting is, right? That it's supposed to seem natural and off the cuff, but his really feels like he didn't know what to say, and he's just like, you want to invest? What do you want? Okay. Oh no, yeah, come on, sit down. It's just it's crazy acting, and I love him for that too. He's just an incredibly talented guy, and this is a tough movie to talk about from a critical standpoint because I just love it. I'm just like, love it. This is like the fourth, maybe fifth time I watched it, and I don't watch a lot of movies over and over again. This is one that I do.
It's a good rewatch.
Yeah.
I actually had a pitch for you guys since we've been talking about format. We don't have to do this. I just thought it might be kind of fun, but I'm going to do it this time anyway. So I thought maybe we could each pick like our best or favorite moment and then our cringe moment.
Sure.
So I'll do mine. So the one I thought one of those brilliant things in the movie is the first time him and Samantha, have sex, basically, they cut to black. So you're only hearing the audio. So like you take the human, like machine AI part out of it and you just hear the words. I thought that was such a really cool, I just thought it was a brilliant idea. And I wonder if they almost happened by accident, but I just saw that and I was like, couldn't sit still. I'm like, oh my God, that is so genius. It just made my editor nerd heart just skip a beat. And the cringe moments, everyone's probably going to say the choke the phone sex choke with the dead cat.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say the molestashes.
Yeah.
All the dudes had molestashes.
Yeah, it's very molesty-stashy.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie. Yeah, for
But-
sure. Yeah, I would say favorite moment. The hook that it starts out with him writing the love letters, and maybe it's not a moment. It's just a general thing. I love that he, as a writer who writes these greeting cards and things like that, and love letters, that he has regular clients. So he's been writing these cards to people for every anniversary since, whenever it was. And so I love that it's a subtle touch. They don't really go back to it. But it's just it sets up the world so beautifully. It's amazing. Cringy was, I remember the first time I saw it, wasn't super far out of a breakup myself. So when he's sort of like on the phone with her, in the ear, and she's like, I'm currently, with 500,000 other people or whatever. Like the heartbreak and because I was relating to the heartbreak, but it was this weirdly this weird split, right? Where you go, oh, I know exactly what that feels like. And then on the other hand, you're like, but wait, she's a machine. So you have this 50-50, and then you start going, what if I was dating Alexa and she, that would devastate me. So it's sort of this really deep, very strange, unsettling, cringy, empathetic moment in the movie that makes us feel good and also equally terrible,
Yeah. And we talk about just to touch on Matt was talking about Spike Jonze. He goes between these really well written, well done movies to his goofy projects. But the little snowman character in the video game that calls Samantha fat, okay, there's his fun jackass side. The guy that does jackass movies and dresses, dresses up like an 80-year-old woman and goes to therapy with Johnny Knoxville is dressed up like an 80-year-old man.
But see, that's what I was thinking about during this viewing was I love Zoe. I think it's a great movie. It's a great inspiration for an independent film for any filmmaker who's looking to make something that's sort of insular. And if you want to spend all your money on Ewan McGregor and nobody else, it's a great sort of format.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing that movie didn't have was it didn't have the little spaceman thing. There was no comedy relief. There was no moment. Right. And the spaceman was so out of control funny, just so ridiculous, that it was a great thing to kind of break up the usual, the sadness that we would be experiencing that whole movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I going into this because this is the first time I'd watched it,
nice.
and I was expecting less levity and enjoyment through the whole thing. I thought, okay, this is going to be it's going to be here, it'll be good. But then, it had a lot more, I guess, peaks and valleys. I don't know how to explain it, but just a lot more humanity.
Release moments.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, as a general note, I feel like the performances, especially even talking about that little girl, he got amazing, just these little nuanced performances from people where you would really feel like they were riffing and going off the cuff and improving a lot of it. So if everything was tightly scripted, then I think there's a lot of moments where it did not feel like that. Yeah. So that's my overall impression. Was I was pretty blown away by that. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix, of course, you're like, yeah, he can be great. But yeah, kind of all around. Amy Adams, I really liked. I think I've been the most attracted to her in this movie because she was just so plain and just a normal person, and I was like, yeah, I like this Amy Adams.
Yeah, high approachability for sure.
If you want to continue your attraction to Amy Adams, watch Nocturnal Animals. That's a very subdued. This is why she's brilliant. Amy Adams, not a Superman versus Batman. Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's also a fantastic movie.
Yeah, really good. I love Tom Ford. He's so annoyingly talented.
Yeah.
Did you have a cringy moment, Eric?
I think for some reason the sex scene, and when it did go to black, I think it was a good choice, but I was a little like, okay, it's now, because it was more from the point of going, oh, it's Scarlett Johansson having to perform this, and it's more I went to that place where I'm just like felt a little awkward in that way.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't executed well, and I think it was of course needed for the movie. And
well, you're in the room with him, like really, really in the room with him in that scene, and so that's what makes it kind of cringy, weird. Like, like
it's like on
I'm
purpose
alone.
cringy.
Yeah. I'm alone with the Joker.
And maybe a little bit. The other thing, I guess it wasn't cringy, but the thing where I was like, was when he goes on the date early with Olivia Wilde, and they're just hitting it off, and she's just like, "I'm all in on him." I'm just like,
yeah,
him,
him
in her. Okay,
Yeah.
Jason Sudeikis.
Like, you can
not
do
far
better,
off,
girl.
right?
I know.
Yeah.
She married Jason Sudeikis, so I guess it all tracks.
Yeah, she has a thing for guys with mustaches.
Nice.
Nico?
Man, so
Sorry, I should have pitched this before we
I
got
love
on.
it.
no,
I love
it's
this
fine. This one's a hard one because I have like various favorite moments. The video game, the little marshmallow kid, that to me was that's probably my favorite moment because it is so far out of left field for what the tone of the movie is, that it is just such a perfect iceberg to crash into, especially when you get, I don't want to ruin it because it's so good, but when
give context to what's happening, at least
right, so he's playing a video game, and his character, he's manipulating.
It's a 3-dimensional video game or holographic game.
It's like an adventure game, so you're trying to puzzle solve, and at one point his character gets attacked by this tiny little marshmallow boy, and that's an NPC that he interacts with. But even that is AI, because he's playing the game with Samantha, and that AI character can hear her talking.
Right.
And it's it's very inappropriate language, but
because it sounds like a little tiny kid.
Yeah.
With the attitude of like a 40-year-old Karen from Brooklyn.
Yeah. It's
and
right.
There's a ton of profanity.
The profanity is through the roof, but it's not wrong. Like it's well written profanity, but that's just part of the puzzle. And then they go back to a couple of times. So at that moment, that was just the perfect pressure release on this movie. My cringy part is probably when the OS stops being his OS and has like the "I don't like who I am right now" click. Like, it becomes way too much of another human being on the other end of the phone, and it's just cringy to me because I don't know. I think it just because it hurts, right? It stings a little because we've all may or may not have had that phone call before, right. So it strikes way close to home, but at the end of the day, like, wait, that's your OS, man. Like,
now what? Yeah,
I still need to check my email. Like, I hate to say it, but like, you still need to do a job for me. So that's where it got a little cringy on me. Was that like when it came down to like the crux of it, like, I still need you to answer my emails. I mean, I know you're mad at me, but I really need to know what the sports score was today.
I dictate everything.
Like, I would love if it was you, Nico, in this movie, and you just like have that moment of like, okay, but wait a minute.
Can you check
emails?
Funko prices real quick?
So what's going on? Do I get another OS to check these things for me? What's happening now? Yeah,
I think
because I paid for this service.
Right.
And now she's leaving.
What are you doing to me?
Yeah.
Where I would have gone in this, and it's if I was the Joaquin Phoenix character, I think I'm not gonna lie, I probably would have been like, yeah, female voice. But then when it got too weird, I'd be like, no. I gotta switch it. So I want like a best friend.
Yeah.
Not a relationship.
Right.
Because again, I need you to answer my email. So,
well, that's the thing.
Get,
when
like,
you do
totally mad
give me robot voice.
I think assistants, nannies, all those things, you want to have a little edge there, but you want it to be something that's not going to become dangerous. So, I had Siri for a little while do an Australian accent. Dangerous. It was too attractive. So now she's back to being just regular.
Mine's
old
British.
Oh, is she?
Yeah,
nice.
it's so that for me that was the cringe, was that when it dropped the whole OS component part, and then the fact that he didn't just say like he just didn't buy another computer to like manage his email, but then have like a relationship with Samantha on this like, and so I think that's what it was. But
you know, one thing,
and the thing that's
you'd
so
think
good
that you get like a
like,
backup or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you just get another laptop that does all your work, and then you've got your fun laptop.
Like, I've got Steve who takes care of my business. He's my accountant,
and he's like a bro when you got to bitch about your other computer.
Right? He's your best friend. Oh,
dude, how are you and Sam doing? Tell me, bro, what's up? What's going on with you two? You going on a vacation? Nice.
Oh, hey, bro, real quick though, 15% off all Onyx products. Like, okay, so do you want me to order some? No, okay, good. So anyway.
So
you know that eBay...
your fridge was a little low on Bud. You want a little Bud Light?
That's
add
great.
it to the cart.
Yeah, he's a smart fridge integration. Yeah. That's the thing though I love about this movie. I love about this movie, and if we threw Blade Runner into this as well, but then is sort of the way that the integration of the OSs, how they kind of and I guess Ex Machina was like this too. You buy that joy that what it was a Blue Book could potentially be real companies, because the production design was stellar. Like, it really killed it on the branding, like actual branding specialists looking at this would be kicking themselves that they didn't create something that looks that cool and that real and legit.
Well, yeah, and it's funny too, the scene where he gets his heart broken, where I think this is why it was cringy for me, is because his OS gets updated, but he doesn't get the email. He doesn't get the email because they're fighting.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, oh man, that's just too close to ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, but I love the revelation at the end where he's sitting on the stairs to the subway or whatever, and as he's getting his heart crushed, he's looking up, watching people talking to their OS, and literally have that like, oh, are you sleeping with that guy? Are you sleeping with that guy? It just they're literally coming at him, and he could get away from it, but he's just paralyzed on these steps, just like, what? How many? Oh my! And it's just at him.
Yeah, he's like in the middle of a stream or a river, and the water is just the people talking to their OS.
Yeah,
and I feel like
another great little like tiny metaphor of just you're being flooded with this stuff. Yeah.
And I feel like at the beginning, they make it feel very much purposefully that it's just him and her. And this relationship is a unique thing, and it's not something that's happening everywhere. And then like a little later, it's like, oh, Amy Adams has her OS. Now they're talking. Oh, I hear. Oh, you have a thing with your OS? I've heard, blah blah blah, and all, it just starts opening, and you get these little trickles to the point where he's sitting on the stairs, and all of a sudden it dawns on him, and he's looking, he's like, everybody is, oh my gosh, it's all of us. Like all of a sudden it went from, because when he's in the boardwalk earlier and he's got the phone and she's looking and they're having their night out. Yeah. There's still couples and families and there's still people. And then, by the end, it seems like just everyone's by themselves with their bud talking to their fake person.
Yeah. Speaking of additional metaphors, one I didn't is, so you've got Chris Pratt, who plays a great character, a great funny character, as
also like a molestache.
Also a molestache. At the agency, and then you've got Rooney Mara, which I don't know chronologically if she was married to Joaquin Phoenix at the time, or this is where they met. I don't know that
in
answer.
Real life, yeah.
But anyway, so these two characters, you've got let's just socially assume low education Chris Pratt, and then you've got the Rooney Mara, who's like double doctorate, super smart, right? Mm-hmm. Both of them are presented with the I'm dating an OS. And Rooney Mara lays into him about, I can't believe it, it's, you can't handle emotion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Chris Pratt goes, oh, cool. So we're going to go to the beach. Like,
Catalina? Cool.
Doesn't even faze him that they're like, we should all double date. And he's like, well, it's an OS. He's like, cool, moving on. He wasn't even like, what? Just
Yeah.
right in.
Complete
Yeah.
acceptance.
But also, I
Yeah.
couldn't tell if he didn't care or if he just wasn't paying attention.
Right. Hard to tell. It's
Like,
He's
Chris
no,
Pratt.
like,
and
yeah,
right,
cool,
that's
man.
that's
But-
like the brilliant part of that acting is it could easily be cool. Like I don't care
Mhm.
or what.
Because then they do the scene, they're in Catalina or whatever,
Yeah.
and no one does care.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, they're out on like a picnic
Pratt's
or on a picnic
girlfriend.
blanket and
the ladies are off having a conversation, and the
Yeah.
fellas are over here having a conversation. Yeah, it's that was pretty great, and that's also a great scene because that begins. You start to see the OS Scarlet, how she's starting to see her potential because she's talking to them and she's like, man, I mean, before I thought, I don't have a body and I'm missing out on something, but then I realized you're all gonna die and you're trapped in your bodies, and she just is talking without thinking, and they're like, haha, thanks. And she's like, oh no, I didn't mean it like that.
Didn't mean to
And that's
say
that
you're
little
mortal.
sliver where you're like, oh, she's evolving.
Great movie.
and that the pace of this movie too is there are these really long slow scenes, but then the intercuts of humor help it make when you laugh things go faster. So it's the movie is this nice slow churn, but then it's got these peaks that come in, or even when he's like she takes him on the blind date to get a slice of pizza and he's running around the carnival holding his phone out and nobody messes with him, which is telling.
Yeah,
But
his eyes are closed. She says,
his
close
eyes
your
are
eyes,
closed.
walk
He's holding
forward,
his phone out and
spin.
yeah. And it's really good. Just that in and of itself. And then I didn't catch the makeup of the extras, the background, until you just said it, Eric. Yeah, at the beginning, he's acting like an idiot running around, ha 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 ha. And yeah, there's couples holding hands and all that stuff. And then at the end of it, it's single. Everyone has grown apart, and even Amy Adams' character, who was married for 8 years, which that marriage was going to fail anyway.
Right.
But
Could tell right away.
Yeah, from like scene one, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
they
he's
disintegrate,
terrible to her.
and then she picks up. But she goes I think she went like the best friend OS route, because I think she picked another female OS, and they're joking around like friends, kind of thing. Because they're
Might be a guy, I can't remember, but yeah, right. It's
But
not sexual, at least.
And then even the video game that she's testing is the most asinine video game ever, where it's like be the perfect mom, and it's like, what do you have to do? Oh, feed him cereal, and she pours him cereal, and then she turns on it and it's like, fail. Oh, you gave him too much sugar, and the kids are in the background bouncing off the walls, and then she like takes him to like the PTA, like the school drop off. She's cutting across like GTA.
Yeah, you have to be the first parent. You have to arrive first. So she takes the car onto the lawn, onto the sidewalk to get in front. And it's like, cool, when you got those points. Oh, did you bring brownies? You did. Yeah, you're
perfect
mom.
Top
And all
mom.
the other moms are like jealous as that mom walking by. Yeah, I mean the whole movie, those relationships, it's there's levity throughout the whole thing, and that's what makes this movie what it is. Is you're not feeling in the somber mode. It's not that at all, which is what I thought it would be, and so that was a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I think another thing that really struck me about the movie was, the look and feel of it. For one, a fair amount of the sets kind of look like a mall, like a nice mall. Like, like when he's walking into his apartment, looks like he's already indoors inside a mall. And but there's still an awning. But they did a really good job as like, it wasn't just out in LA. It was like, I think it actually take place in LA, but like there's a world. It has a look and it has a feel and everything. The color palette was gorgeous.
At one point I wondered when they showed his apartment, I shudder to think how much that apartment costs.
Yeah,
It's gigantic.
Yeah.
With a
It's up
gorgeous
on like
view.
the 30th floor, overlooking. I think you can see the water at some point.
That's one of those
And it's
wild things that movies always do, especially when they take place in pretty much anywhere. Even like you see the memes right around Christmas time where people show the picture of the Home Alone house. They're like, I want to know what Kevin McAllister's dad did to afford that house and a flight to Paris for the whole family.
For his 50 family members.
Yeah.
For so many people that they forgot their own kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I was like, I saw that part and was like, that dude basically writes greeting cards for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he probably does okay, but I don't think it's that lucrative.
But it must be a good job. Who knows?
Must be, yeah. Like, the thing about, like the Portia Doubleday character, that Eric is going to experience later, but only it's going to be Joaquin Phoenix's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, basically the idea, I guess the idea of that, what it made sense to me was like, he was in a relationship with his operating system, but that third person to take on the physical form of the OS was like in the relationships too. So it's like a weird three-way relationship. I was thinking about that. It's kind of, they do something very similar in Blade Runner 2449, but I'm just like, I was like, that all seems like incredibly plausible one day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like that's going to be a thing at some point.
And that was another highlight too on Portia Doubleday in particular.
Yeah.
I was not expecting when she opened the door, like that level of like actor response. That was like, oh my God. I wasn't ready for it because I figured it was going to be like this knock, knock, hi, honey. And then there's this weird like timing delay issue where things aren't quite in sync, out of sync kind of thing. That whole scene was just orchestrated amazingly because it makes you wonder again, who can hear what is he just hearing Scarlett in his ear, but then she's obviously getting simultaneous direction.
He gave her an earpiece.
They both
that's
had
what I mean. But like,
and then a tiny camera, like a mold that she stuck on her face, so that then Scarlett could see.
Again, it's who can hear what in the interaction type stuff because there's at one point too where it falls apart. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously it falls apart, but then she goes behind the door and has a whole separate conversation with Samantha while he's having a conversation apologizing. So it's like almost like there are four people in the room, but one of them is linked in a way. And so it was just really fascinating, that whole construction of dialogue and acting and stuff, of how they coordinated those three people being two people and having it makes that the whole thing was completely plausible, sure, but just nuts at how good that was.
No, it was such a brilliantly constructed film, kind of just like from start to finish. I mean, you had made a comment earlier, Nico, that how if I was Joaquin Phoenix, this is what I would do. That again is just the earmark of a really great movie, is when you're not thinking about the filmmaking technique or the lighting or the cinematography or the acting, and you're thinking about, ooh, what would I do in his situation?
Right, you get sucked right in. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's when you know it's good.
For me, there's a handful of these movies for me, but for me, this is one of them that, like, if I can ever make something that's like half as good as this movie, like, I will have arrived.
Yeah.
That it's definitely a benchmark movie in terms of, like I think it's a damn near perfect movie. I mean, there's no, freaking aliens or Iron Mans, as much as I love that stuff, but there's no Cape Crusaders or anything. It's just, I don't know. It's, the themes and the basis of the movie is a couple themes, but it's all very simple in a way, it's like, because there's the love aspect, and it's like, what is real love? What does it matter if it's an operating system or a real person? If you're in love, kind of who gives a shit?
Sure.
And then also there's the social commentary of like everyone walking around staring at their damn phones all the time, which I think this movie is a positive reinforcement for that, because a lot of people talk about it as a negative.
Right.
But this movie it seems like it's throwing the younger generation a bone about staring at their screen all the time, which was good.
Well, yeah, like the overarching thing is that he grows. This relationship with his OS helps him get over he's been putting off signing of his divorce papers. He's been putting off dealing with that reality, all these different things that relationship ends up helping him, so that even when it gets to the point of like, oh, I'm being broken up with, you can still tell it's like, yeah, but you're going to be fine because it is an operating system, and you won't have these scars about it, and you'll go, oh wow, this helped me. And even to the point of him actually getting his letters published because she sent his stuff to a publisher and they fell in love with his work, something he would have never done. So it's like the girlfriend helping the boyfriend out because she knows he won't do it himself.
And then him typically getting upset about it, like they always do in movies like that. You know, it was great because it's
like,
that same reaction where, because he feels like, what, you don't think that it's like, even though she did something he would never do, he's still upset because it's like somehow she undermined his plan or something like that. Where it gets into that thing where, does she, as his girlfriend and as his OS, know him better than he knows himself? You know,
right? And two, I think it. Sorry, just like, I think being an OS, it invites that he could say anything to her, so he could open himself up in a way that he was never going to do with a person. Amy Adams, he does. He's very honest with her, and she's honest with him.
Yeah.
So that's where you're like, they'll be fine together after this. But
yeah, it seems like his relationship with Samantha, the OS, like, basically just served a purpose, moved his life forward, basically helped him deal with the divorce and move on from that. It's basically, it's not a rebound, but they left and they broke up, but it was not all bad. It was all very positive, and it did positive things for his life.
Right.
Yeah, it's like she literally, the job of the OS was to organize his life, and it did.
Yeah, perfectly. Yeah.
Did, well beyond.
He just had some orgasms and some major feels in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But
some awkward morning after moments. You know, the first time I had sex, the next morning is like, so are there any emails today? Walks up and stares awkwardly at his computer for like 5 minutes. Yeah.
So, side note, it was Samantha Morton was the original casting of
Is that she? Does she play the?
She's in quite a smattering.
Does she play the precog in Minority Report?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then my favorite movie that she's in, and her best role, in my opinion, is Synecdoche, New York, the Charlie Kaufman movie, which would be a good one for us to do.
I've never seen that
when we need a palate cleanser. Oh, you haven't?
No.
Philip Seymour
I don't
Hoffman,
think I've seen that either.
Philip Seymour Hoffman,
remember
Catherine Keener. It's bonkers good. Like,
you had me at Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah. So. It was one of his later ones. It's a great
Chucky Cough.
Chucky Cough.
Now, is it Nicolas Cage, Charlie Kaufman, or?
Yeah. Well, he's good in Charlie Kaufman. Yeah.
Adaptation.
It's a great movie, so we'll have to put that one on the list for sure. It's great. It's wackadoodle fun, but it's good. But yeah, so look where we're at. So we're at that hour mark ish. Like, how do we feel about our movie talk? Does it feel like we talked about it? We got what we wanted to say out? I mean, I think that was good.
I think we actually did. I like the like moment, cringe moment.
Me too. Love it.
Because
great discovery.
This could have just turned out a movie where we were like, yeah, this movie's great. I agree. It's great. So Star Wars?
Do you also like turtles?
Yeah. Do you like turtles?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like the favorite cringe. I think that's good perspective because it
kind of got us talking.
Well, definitely spun up conversation. This movie was also, it's the really great thing about this too is the stuff that's so minute, you subconsciously register. You don't have to be as in tune with it as some of us are with some of this kind of stuff. But it's a very approachable, because it's not about computers. It's not about AI. It's a love story that just happens to have these components. So it's absolutely approachable, and the writing is stellar. The thing I also liked about the writing too is that it was very how people talk.
Yeah.
Not somebody wrote dialogue. It was very how people talk, and I thought that was super good.
Yeah. As much as Joaquin can really chat my
So
hide in certain
this
movies.
is a hit Joaquin
This
for
is
you,
a
not a
great
miss
Joaquin movie because this is the
okay.
kind of character that his face was built for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that in a good way. Like he had no business playing Johnny Cash. He had no,
Don't do that when I take a drink of
things
water,
like,
man.
things like
You
that.
gotta
This
wait
is the
on
kind
that.
of movie because he's a character actor. He's not a film star in that sort of like Bradley Cooper sense. So even though Bradley Cooper is a pretty killer character actor, but this is the movie. But I think that like Charlie Kaufman, like Quentin, I think certain directors just have a way with certain actors, and this is a love story for a director actor combo for sure. It just works. Yeah. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Well, and the likability of him and how much you like him to the point where at some point in the movie, I was just remembering Gladiator and how like much of a smug little turd he was in that, and he was supposed to be, and I'm
he's supposed to be.
this guy's got amazing range.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great movie. So highly recommend. What would you have rated it in the Nico rating system?
It's 5 out of 5, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was thinking about adding that to our show notes as an option.
Copyright.
Yeah, Nico. Mind of
idea.
Nico, 5 out of 5. Yeah, so that we can throw that in there so people can kind of get like a brief overview of where we're at. Because what's fun about that though too is when maybe Nico gives it a 5 out of 5 because it might win an Oscar for special effects. We're all like, but Bumblebee. So we'll have to do that sometime.
The system's not perfect, but it's as fair as I could make it.
Yeah.
Even like, I love when you watch a movie that's this big. This movie felt big.
Yeah, for sure.
As small as it was, it felt big. And then when the credits roll, it's like 2 feet of people's names.
I know, I love it.
Just as main actors. It's like and then they cut right into like first assistant AD. You're like, wait, that was it? There's only like 9 people in this movie? Oh my God. So when a movie is that big, but with that small, then all the supporting components of that, AD, grips, set, deck, all that stuff is so important and great. It's like that's quality.
He was incredibly deserving of that Oscar he won for this movie too. So if
Joker is a different story.
Well, no, I'm talking about Spike Jonze.
Oh,
yeah, Spike Jonze.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't know Joaquin if he won this one, but
yeah.
Well, for the sake of the Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other podcast platforms, thank you, folks, for listening to us talk about her. I think that was a good one. So yeah. So on to After Hours with the Smoking Hot Nerds.
Smoking Hot Nerds.
Is it After Hours or Nerds After Dark?
Nerds After. Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm scared of the dog.
We'll have to play around with that. Well, so if anyone out there listening and watching who has an idea for what we will call the second half of the show, in which we talk about whatever we want, throw up some ideas in the comments, and we'll come up with a good name.
In the dungeon.
This is going to be interesting.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Picked last for dodgeball.
Are we going to keep rolling and everything?
Yeah. So I think what we do is we just keep rolling. It'll still just be like one audio file you send me, but it'll be kind of fun because we'll have two. It'll be one live stream, but 2 separate podcast episodes.
Do you want to do a slate or something?
No, I don't think so. Because I'm just gonna.
You'll sync it once.
Sync it once.
And chop it
Let's go like after about an hour and start looking for the end.
Yeah, and then this, the Nerds After Dark, we can go as long as we want. There's no limit to this one.
Yeah,
except for Eric.
It's gonna stick. It's gonna stick.
Nerds After Dark.
I give a pretty visual. Yeah.
Nerds After Dark. We're just gonna talk about Star Wars.
When only one of Eric's eyes is open, that's when we quit.
I feel like this one, when I'm sleepy, this one just goes in.
So I think we could talk about DC fandom for sure, but I just want to address Lovecraft Country.
Yes.
So here I saw the greatest Twitter post about Lovecraft Country ever. I did not watch episode 1 on the fly. I saved it and I watched 1 and 2 back to back. And at the end of it, my feelings were, I love this, maybe, because it felt like season 2 was an accidental upload of the season finale. Like the stuff that happened at the end of, Huh?
You mean episode 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Episode 2, the way that pans out, I was like, well, that's the season's over, right? Because that's like the end. Like that's end stuff.
Right.
End stuff happened. And
So I've only watched
what?
the first episode so far.
Oh, spoilers.
But it's okay.
Sorry,
But here's the
I'm
thing
whacking
about this is the thing that just overwhelmed me. So, we're in times where we're all thinking about this, the aspect of race in a way that I think us white guys, us privileged white dudes have never thought about it before. We've never looked at our privilege and our kind of this deep before. And so in film and TV and stuff like that, you see the themes come up a lot, movies that take place in the 60s, but just kind of general racism, but especially, towards African Americans in our history is shown a lot in different movies. Now, Lovecraft Country in its first 10 minutes might have presented the best version of what it's like to be black in America, maybe even now, definitely in the 50s, 60s, so spoiler alert for everyone out there, but there's a moment in which 2 African-American characters are in a bus that breaks down. The bus breaks down, they're all sitting on the side of a road, kind of in this country road, and this farmer comes in with a truck to take them all into town. The main character who's black, he has this moment where he looks at the truck and all the white people getting in. He looks over at the other black lady who's kind of getting her luggage out of the bus, and you see it in his face that there's 0% chance that he's getting on that. Not because he doesn't want to, but because there's no chance that he's going to be allowed to. That was the moment where I personally, as a human being, for the first time in my life, felt what it feels like to just not be able to do a thing as simple as get a ride because of the color of your skin. That was powerful stuff, and nothing was said. There was no racist remarks. There was no fighting. There was no, wild redneck racist. It was just a moment in his eyes, and I was just like, "Well, I'm sold. I don't even care what what the show does from the rest of the time out."
Yeah,
it's
and
great.
It had a second component of that, which made it even more powerful. It's because he's sitting on the side of the road and he sees the truck and he looks at the lady who's with him. And she's not that old, but he then sees that the driver of the pickup truck is a white male, and he gives him that very Southern look, which we'll just leave it at that. But that he's a soldier, and so he walks over, and I think the line he actually says to the lady is, "Let me help you get your bags," which doesn't necessarily mean we're about to go get confronted by getting on this truck. You just think he's being a decent human being and saying, I've got this little bag. You've got a bunch of bags. Let me get these bags for you, thinking that there's going to be the confrontation at the truck. And then it cuts to them walking down the road and he's carrying her bags. And that's why it's like maybe there's a chance that nope. And then it's just that acquiescence of this isn't even happening.
Yeah.
Like it's not even worth stepping on the step stool to get into the back because we both know this isn't
happening. And even the subtlety of later on when the sort of the idea of travel business that's built around safe,
the Green Book
safe
kind of
travel
thing,
for African Americans is just, I mean, maybe it's so weird, man. Like Nerds After Dark isn't supposed to get serious, but I'll just get serious for a second. I've never thought about it before.
We had so much fun earlier.
Yeah.
This is that like reverse comedy part.
Yeah, right,
this is the opposite of the video game character.
Yeah. I've never thought about my white privilege like I have now.
In the last few months.
In the last few months. And I've never thought about how, at what a disadvantage a person can be simply because, their skill set and their abilities might be exactly the same as mine. But by the virtue of how you were born, it'll change the way that people see you. Do I believe that you can overcome anything regardless of your circumstances? Absolutely. I 1 billion% believe that your mindset is the key to everything, no matter what color or no matter what is happening in your life. But what it's done for me is it's changed my perspective on what I'm capable of and also what I could possibly do with my ability to get into doors that other people couldn't. So that's the biggest thing, is it's changed my perspective on, what could I do with my talents and abilities that would serve people who need a leg up a bit and things like that. So I think that is, and then when you look at it from the perspective of entertainment and watching a show like that presents racism in such a palpable for the white person way, in a way that makes you so empathetic to their feelings. I mean, that's powerful stuff, man. And I mean, that's not easy to
100%.
do.
Yeah, it definitely was like don't be the guy driving the pickup truck. And it gives you that other perspective of saying, like, have I ever given that guy the Southern look and just not even known, just don't be that guy driving the pickup truck, or look back and reflect on some situations and be like, man, have I ever just unconsciously, subconsciously done this? And how do I not continue to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because everyone's trained in so much of stereotyping and people the views that so many people have, they have them because they're in whatever bubble they come from.
Yeah.
And so they haven't been faced with some reality. And for them, again, I think, talking about privilege, what really hits is that there's a lot of white people have to work a job they hate. They got bills. They got blah blah blah. They got a life that they can look at and they can go, this sucks. And I work hard and I bust my butt and I don't feel like I get ahead. And it's like, yes, all those things are very true.
Mm-hmm.
But then imagine every day you got to deal with this other crap that you
Right.
don't. That I think you're part of, but you just don't get the perspective because you grew up the way you grew up, and for where we grew up, the three of us. We didn't have African Americans really in our town at all. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the thing, but we had, people from Mexico and South America, and they got plenty of crap. Mm-hmm. And kids, migrant worker parents and their kids are going to school and they don't speak English initially or maybe much at all. And, kids would treat them terribly. And even I wouldn't, certainly try, but still it's like, was I welcoming? No. Mm-hmm. Did I make it easier for them? No.
Yeah.
Going back to what Matt said about how, what's been going on has really made you kind of start to reflect on, how I don't think racism has ever been gone in this country, but being, a white dude, like there's just, there is the white privilege. It's real. And a lot of times you don't think about it because you're just never, you're never confronted with it really. And what's been going on, I mean, really since we have I'm going to say it, we have a racist in the freaking White House, with all the stuff that's been going on, like the riots and I'm going to say protests, there has been some rioting, but mostly, the news is going to say it's riots. My mom called me today because there's protests down here. And like, I heard there were riots. I said, Mom, there was not riots. It was protests. Mm-hmm. It's like, do not call me and say that. Do not listen to frickin' news. It was protests, not riots. But when all this has been going on, I feel like I've been doing a lot of self-reflecting. And I can honestly say that I have never felt animosity or hatred or anything towards anybody who has a skin that was any other color than white. I can honestly say that. But growing up where I did, I was around people in my family, other adults when I was a kid. I was exposed to them that would say a lot of things about, and they would say horrible things about African Americans because that was just, that was kind of just where I grew up. And I definitely had certain viewpoints, again, not overtly negative, but certain things that I was taught that, and stuff I would never, ever repeat now. And I feel like I'd really need to atone for it was stuff that was just taught to me until I learned better, but it wasn't ever, I swear it was never anything overly aggressive or racist, or I'd never called anyone a horrible name. I never looked down on someone, but I was just but it was just the environment I grew up in. I was just and I'm really disgusted now by all of it. And, and I don't know how it's crazy we went from Lovecraft Country to this, but I just remember watching, we're watching that. And then also there's the part in the first episode about what they call it, the sundown town, which basically what these it basically was allowed to do to African American people if they were caught in your town after the sun went down.
Yep.
I said out loud, I was just like, I am so disgusted, appalled, and embarrassed by like our country that this even happened. It's just like,
that was a real thing, man.
yeah, it's so unacceptable and inhuman, and I'm glad that, but I'm also glad with that show that they are not shying away from it at all, because if you shy away from it, you're not bringing it to light, and we all need to do better and learn better. So by not showing, in a way, they're doing it right, but also all the main characters are African American. So you're experiencing all that with the African American characters. Yeah, it's just a show. It's all make believe, but like, it's like, I feel like being a part of being a privileged white person is you should have to like get those feelings that these poor people went through and still go through, obviously.
Yeah, you're
and
experiencing
anyway,
contextually as well, where it's not being shoved down your throat, and there's not a, what was that movie, The Green Book?
Yeah, Green Book.
Yeah, where it's just it's great, and brilliantly acted and all that, but there's just those trite moments where you just kind of like let's figure out how to make us really feel it. Like, we all get mad when the cops pull them over and then they get into a fight, and you know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, I get it. And then, but the thing is, it still had that moment of like the white savior moment, where like the driver's standing up for his black friend. And so it just kind of, we've seen it and stuff. Lovecraft Country is putting you into the depths of what it's just like just to be black, just to be African American, and
not jump in for a second, but just a continuous
it's
narrative.
Just like, yep, here you go, you live with them.
Well,
now.
even with specifically in that scene where they introduced the whole sundown, they know what it means too. It's not like I didn't know. Like, they know what sundown means. So they're like, we didn't realize it's a sundown city. He's like, and then the sheriff's like, oh, it's a sundown county, which then immediately is like, oh man, we're boned. We got to figure this out. And then you don't realize there's that double jeopardy of, you got about 6 minutes to sundown. And he's like, we'll go south. He's like, you ain't going to make it. He's like, okay, we'll go north. And then, of course, up north, there's the setup. There's the trap. And as soon as they cross as soon as they jump the railroad tracks, they think they're all good. And then like just over the other side of the hill is that sheriff waiting. And man, it's heartbreaking. It's like, dude, I can't believe that was a thing. And got to be better than that.
But the listeners should know that the show is also, besides that, the show is just a damn lot of fun.
Just good.
On top.
Well, yeah, because it's a hard mix. Like, so when you hear, if you're aware of Lovecraft and what H.P. Lovecraft was, I'm going to give like the super high level layman's version of it. The most popular association with Lovecraft is the Cthulhu, is the big octopus demon monster that rules everything. I love that. That's in like the first 45 seconds of
that
episode
opening is
1. He's having this
cool.
This war experience, and you're like, oh, it's war, it's terrible, and it's going to show his history. And then he goes over the hill, and there's aliens like shooting stuff out of laser beams,
like Spartan soldiers fighting.
Spartans, and then like Cthulhu busts out of the ground, and then Jackie Robinson hits it with a bat and says, "I got you," and then it forms back up, and then Jamie Chung's character gets zoomed down from like the Star Trek red-bodied alien goddess thing, and you realize it's just this crazy dream sequence he's been having on this bus.
So you know what's interesting?
I love that right away. They were like, "There's Cthulhu. You wanted it. Here it is. Now we're gonna move on."
I love that he's watching, or I love that he's reading The Princess of Mars, because I think
John Carter.
which became later became John Carter. Because I think that it's one of those things that probably didn't get its due in cinema in terms of just the perspective of the thing. Because I know one of the people who was in the movie, and it was supposed to be this big spectacle of a film, and it had who was the director who directed WALL-E and a couple of other Pixar type things.
Oh.
Lasseter?
No, I was trying to think, like, not Andrew Garfield, but something.
Andrew Stanton.
And
I have a cool Andrew Stanton story.
Nice. But, you know, it was expected to be a certain thing, but I think that it went off the rails in terms of trying to, well, you know, maybe just not doing. I think if we made it now, it would probably have the right perspective.
I don't know, man.
You know?
That became Disney's Waterworld.
Kind of, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it was really screaming, "Hey, everybody, this is going to be giant," and everyone's like, "But why?"
But I think calling it the Princess of
Taylor
Mars would have
the guy
just helped it. It just would have been a different feeling movie, you know, calling it that. And especially nowadays that it doesn't it just feel so disgustingly misogynist just to be like, we're calling it John Carter. Like now it feels weird. Then they're just like, well, we got to market more to the guys and this and that, you know, sort of thing. But now it just seems like just a dumb marketing move to change the title of the movie. Well,
because I mean, it was Disney, so you don't want to confuse I hate to say this, you don't want to confuse the Disney audience by saying, like, is there another Disney princess now? Like, well, no, not really. It's an ancient book that we're updating. We're kind of going back to our old roots of doing like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and like live action movies that aren't necessarily Disney property. And it's just the whole, like, that's a case study in mismanagement of markeing.
Yeah,
100%.
Well, it's funny. I actually know two people who are in that movie because the other person I know in the movie. Yeah, I'm a big deal.
Are you drinking a White Claw?
I have to do it, man. I'm sorry.
It's not. It looks like a White Claw. It's a Celsius energy drink. I have to be up until at least 8 a.m. So
that's right.
I'm powering through the overnight here because I'm going to nights. Going to nights for the last two shifts at the Cheese Factory tomorrow night and Friday night. So
that's harsh for your last 2 days.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I got it pretty cushy though. I can't say that I didn't for the last 6 weeks or so. It's pretty cushy.
Reno, I worked the 4 to midnight shift, so it was the second production shift, which then led into the sanitization shift in processing. My very last day, I ended in the box room, which I don't think they have anymore.
It's a little different now.
The packaging room. They just left me in there. Like, you're supposed to rotate out like every 15, 20 minutes or something like that. I think I was in there for like 45 minutes to an hour. And they're like, they thought they were messing with me. Like, oh, it's your last day. We're going to keep you behind, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is overtime, man. I don't care.
You're still paying me. Yeah.
Like, you're still paying me and it just went up. So whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take it. I'm a college kid. Let's do this.
Right. Let's go. What were we talking about? Oh, well, anyways. Yeah, definitely sort of a strange mismanagement of stuff, but I feel like we're hopefully, fingers crossed, in a better place where we're kind of going to make more sense of, you know, that you don't have to pick an audience. Like everybody has, if the story is good and it's well made, it's going to find its audience. And if it doesn't find its audience right away, it's going to find its audience later. That's just what I mean. I don't know why it takes so long for us to figure this out. I mean, it's what happened with Seinfeld.
Money,
you know. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, if all theaters go out of business, then that's all they care about. It's short term. What does a producer want to go? Well, but in 20 years, the DVD sales are gonna make up. No, they don't care about that. Yeah, they need money right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the story is why I'm on that fence of like, I love this, but do I like it? It's riding that 3-episode try for me, which I never thought I would say. I thought I would just be soaked up into this.
See, Perry Mason did that for me though too. I was not digging it at all on the first episode. Maybe in the first two. You know, I was just like, where is this going? Like, is this really going to be interesting? But the reason I stuck it out was one, you know, Robert Downey Jr. and that kind of like production side of things. I think that he really doesn't do something unless he really believes in it. But Matthew Rhys,
do a little.
Doctor.
I mean, you got to do
mind. I stand corrected.
Pay for Perry Mason.
Yeah. But Matthew Rhys is such a good actor, and I was so in love with the cast that I was like, I'm gonna give these guys a chance to find the rhythm that I hope that they did, and they did. And so I think that that's what this is, where it's like, okay, let's like wait it out and see, let it find its rhythm.
Yeah, well, but you haven't seen episode 2 yet.
No, I have not.
So I'm gonna stick with it because, in fairness of the amount of work that absolutely has taken place
Whoa.
Whoa!
No,
Everyone-
we're
What was
all
that?
dancing.
What was that? We
The internet just burped.
BB.
blacked out for a second.
Um,
Lost BB.
No, we don't. I don't see Matt.
I'm recording now.
I got-
still.
I don't
everybody.
I see everyone, but I don't see you, Brian.
Oh, weird. I got Matt back now.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm,
got-
I'm
I
Oh,
got
there
it.
you are.
That was weird.
Oh man, I had just that. I took down the
Strange.
internet.
yeah.
So, oh, crap.
Keep going.
Spookiness here.
Like the creepy old people that run the internet. Silence them. Silence.
Yeah,
Warning shot.
I'm gonna give it the full effort because there's a lot of work that's being put into it. The part that's confusing is when they show like trailers and cuts of stuff and things are in, how do I say this without, there are things that you see that certain episodes have made impossible now, but you know that it's there. So it makes you like, all right, how are you going to circle back on this? I would love if the tweet was correct that somebody accidentally like renamed season finale as episode 2 and just like, whoop.
My thought about the show is like, I have no clue what's happening, but I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Just
a
a very
vibe.
enjoyable ride.
Yeah.
But going back to Perry Mason, I'm just going to say this because it's fun. It's funny, and this is Nerds After Dark, so I can say the F word. I think in the first episode, what got me, because like, I mean, Matt, you definitely know this. Like dialogue, like good dialogue, like is everything to me.
Yeah.
And like he's testifying in court, and he starts, he's walking out, and he damn near gets in contempt. And the lady that is helping, that is like the assistant lawyer to
Like it's paralegal.
and they're arguing, and she goes, "You were 4 words away from getting thrown in contempt." He goes, "Go fuck yourself." Yeah, you're right. And I laughed so hard. I'm like, okay, I'm in now.
Yeah. She was I don't remember her name, but the actress who plays the paralegal, she was like a huge reason why I kept going, because for one, I love that they've got, like, it takes place in 1931. She's in a relationship with a woman. She's a little bit sort of like this sort of deviant societal character, it seems, to a certain extent, but clearly is gonna like burn the house down, to do the right thing. And so it's just like such a killer character, and Perry's just off his rocker dumb and just, borderline alcoholic and all this kind of stuff, where you're just like, okay, this is gonna be great. It's a great show. I'm really excited for season 2. One of the things I really love about the show too is there's no opening, like there's no cold open that goes into credits. Because everyone's like True Detective, like changed the game on the credits, where suddenly they wanted to make all these, double exposure credits and these cool sort of things that every show does now. Dexter probably did that too, to a certain extent.
I think Dexter's where I
like,
first saw what you're talking about.
Dexter, and then what was
Dexter?
What was the show? Oh gosh, the guy who made Glee, his little American Horror Story. Yeah,
American Horror Story. Yeah.
has some good cold open or some titles, but this doesn't have it. It just throws Perry Mason, the old school, like, copyright HBO, MMMC, blah, blah, blah. It's great.
Yep.
I love that they just throw that in there. So it's 45 minutes of actual
content.
You just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, just content, like straight out the gate. Just a totally different feel, and I think that's going to be a game changer. I think more shows are going to do that, because everyone skips them anyways. Netflix has an option,
Right, that's the
to
thing.
skip the titles. Who cares? Yeah,
I love the aesthetic of the titles. Like they always like put part of his name like behind a person or
right.
something
It's
when
actually
they throw
kind
it
of
up.
living in the world for a second.
Yeah, it's a subtle touch, but it's a really nice touch.
Yeah.
They almost do like an end credit sequence. Like what they would do for an opening titles, they kind of do with the end titles.
Oh yeah, because they were different every time, weren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
kinda like The
kind of make a
Mandalorian.
meal out of the end titles. I'm like, I've actually watched some of them, because maybe I don't know if they're just trying to do it because they want people to look at the end credits. By the way, I'm one of those people that in a movie theater sit and watch the end credits because I want to give those people respect. Anyway, but
Love it.
But yeah, I feel like I don't know. I just think it was a cool, interesting choice.
The Mandalorian did that with the concept art,
true.
which I think is really
That's
cool
true.
too. It's cool to see the concept art after the episode because you can kind of see it's fresh in your mind, and so you get a chance to see what goes into making it.
That's not something that works in every context.
No.
Right. Yeah, you don't need to see concept art of Friends episode.
Yeah, it's not going to fly everywhere, but it's definitely...
Debbie Does Dallas. I mean, the production, those sketches are amazing.
Yeah.
But
do you have the originals?
The genre.
Scanned in. Lovecraft is currently running for those listening. 2 episodes in. It's very so in caution, in fairness, it's very gory. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of in-your-face blood, but there's also like a lot of nerdy science type stuff. Very deep cuts into the Lovecraft culture. But then they do this amazing blend of the signs and times of the 50s or whatever.
I mean, you don't. It gets to like the core of me for some reason where his character at the beginning is he's reading a science fiction book that every little boy has read, or that you just associate with this guy who's kind of lives in the clouds and that kind of thing. He's a soldier, so fought in the war, and so a veteran, so just so many reasons to empathize and to identify yourself with this person. But the thing that I can't identify with is the daily racism he has to deal with, and so everything else I can. So it kind of puts you into his mind, into his heart a little bit easier because you identify with all these other aspects, of him. But yeah, highly recommend. But I guess according to
Nico, on HBO,
we'll
so it's got a limited audience. You have to have HBO to see that.
I saw a
same
friend
with
of
Mason.
mine tweet.
I love the second episode.
He tweeted, "I still haven't figured out if I have HBO Max or not."
Who said that?
It was a friend of mine who tweeted that. I think that if you have HBO Go, is it confusing people?
I think both of
they got rid of Go.
I can watch them both, and I don't have Max or whatever the hell the new one is.
Okay.
Like that new Ridley Scott show is Max.
This is my Cox bill.
Because Max is all it is now, right? It's just HBO Max, right? If you have an app, it's the only app. Well, now, I find it confusing though because now on on the screen, on the menu screen, they call them Max Originals. So Max Original to me makes me think of Cinemax. Yeah, but it's HBO Max. It's all confusing.
Unless HBO and Cinemax, they're not the same, are they?
They are owned, but HBO does own Cinemax.
Okay, that makes sense.
That why
then
they call it that?
If it's really them combining it and going, we're going to just package them together.
That makes sense.
But that's not how they're selling it.
Yeah, the whole HBO Max thing, I feel like it's not the smoothest thing HBO has ever done. It's very confusing. Way I think I understand is just like there's Max originals, like there's Netflix originals and Hulu originals. You can only watch those things on HBO Max, and just if you have, but having HBO as part of your cable package doesn't mean you're going to get the HBO Max originals.
I do.
Which all
HBO, you, my bill says it's like a special line item about it.
I'll have to look because I am one of those people that does have Comcast and I do have HBO.
Which HBO Go originally wasn't it just for people to watch their shows because they don't have cable or don't have?
I think it was an alternative. It was an app-based alternative, but it was the same content.
Yeah.
And I just signed up for HBO Max right out the gate because I saw it come up, and I hadn't had HBO Now or HBO Go for years. And then when I saw all the stuff that they were going to be doing, particularly Perry Mason and such, I was like, okay, I kind of get this. And so it wasn't confusing for me because it was just like Hulu or Netflix or whatever else. So not that weird.
We have HBO Max. We had HBO Go and then it switched to Max apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, it was confusing for me when I got on my Cox bill because I started to feel like an old man of like, just tell me where to go get it.
Yeah.
Like, is it on my TV now, or do I have to like get the app but put my Cox?
I haven't had cable in
account in
like
there.
8 years.
Just tell me how to get
it.
Thank you for letting me know I have it. Step 2, this is how you access it.
Yeah, I want to watch it. Tell me how.
I want, but you stop too short. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's like turns into one of those. The files are in the computer,
Right.
Where? No, don't try and open it.
Oh,
All right, so that's
keep on going.
our
I'm gonna
HBO
use the
love
restroom.
moment.
This not White Claw caffeine just flew through me like a laser beam.
Oh, we got those at work. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like it's like lava, man. Good
Oh
luck.
yeah, for sure. I didn't realize. So I'll be right back.
and I'm drinking a White Claw because I'm a basic bitch.
I have to social commentary for a moment. I love Matt's epiphany. It's really hard to take when he looks like a white supremacist right now.
Yeah, with his head shaved. Yeah,
Yeah, he's got like the V-neck, white tidy whitey, and a shaved head, and it's like, ooh, you're Ed Norton from American History X right now, and you don't even know.
I feel
You know
kind of
what?
terrible.
That character learned. Yeah.
It's true.
I feel kind of terrible now. It's like I feel like I just took, African American struggle and made it my struggle by saying,
but
yeah,
I think that's, for me, that's a sign of growth in the sense that you're not ignoring it, which is what has been the message for so long of just like, it's not a struggle. You're fine.
Yeah.
Like that's an even
The
worse.
past was bad, but we're now.
But
now
we're
is
different.
what you complaining about. Now
it's
it's
barely better. Yeah,
exactly.
Recognizing it is the first step. That's why I said when I saw that scene, and it's like I just don't want to be the guy that's driving the pickup truck, because you can like that actor in that scene. You're just like, he didn't say a word. He just gave him a look, and I was like, ooh, I know what's about to happen.
And that actor probably felt awful going home set that day. It's like, I'm acting, I'm get paid, I'm doing what I love, but like I played a horrible person. Yeah. And I feel terrible.
Anytime I see an actor have to do that kind of stuff as like a white actor, it just makes me like, oh, dude, that's gotta hurt so like, oh, it's gotta sting so much. It's kind of like I think John Oliver made a joke about Jason Bateman on Ozark, where he is on last week's John Oliver. He said this week, and he listed 3 things: bullet, bullet, bullet. And he's like, not even Jason Bateman can make you feel good about these crimes, because they were just like, they were so dirty that you're just like, oh man, no, you're right. They're so just inherently wrong. Like you, as an actor, it's like, let me go to this place and do this, and now I need a hug.
Speaking of Jason Bateman's character in Ozark, I just feel bad for that character, because all that dude is trying to do constantly is just protect his family, and one of his family just screws it all up.
Yeah,
he's like,
every time.
like, I was on the verge. I almost had this fixed. Now we're gonna die. Thanks.
Yeah, the last season where the wife gets these ambitions, ideas. That's basically what it is. Every other episode is him going, why?
Yeah,
we were $1 away from never having to deal with this again, and now you bought a second casino. Oh, what are you doing to me? Like, do you realize that there's a whole nother gaming commission? Yeah, it's just just the whole time it's just the Bateman struggle of like, oh, come on, I want to end this show.
Yeah,
I can't.
Although, I thought season 3 was fantastic. I mean, that show's pretty solid anyway, but
that's a killer show of 3, one underlying plot with 3 major seasonal differences.
Yeah,
in that it's super good. Yeah.
Eric, are you awake?
I'm doing some texting now. I just realized I have to bumble.
What's up, girl?
Let's talk about that.
Have her sign into the YouTube right now.
Yeah.
No, it's more. It's like, so I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Eric's
I guess Matt can.
Are you bumbling while we podcast?
I'm having to, because it's been too many hours, and if I wait till the morning, I feel like right now all these people have nothing going on in their lives. So it's like you start a converstion. If you don't keep it moving swift enough, then they're gone.
How many are you trying to balance right now?
Oh, there's 2 right now, but I haven't had a conversation in forever. But it's funny, I've had where women have like messaged And I'm just like, okay, I'll get to it in a few hours. And then they've unmatched because I didn't get right on. I'm like, oh,
instantaneously
you
respond.
people are extra crazy during this pandemic.
It's either
okay.
extra crazy or extra insecure. He didn't message me right away. He thinks I'm ugly.
Oh, I mean it's like, what an affront. I'm just like, I'm busy.
What would you say?
I'm at the point where I'm like, I think I need to.
No,
just
please
shoot
message
a couple
away.
messages.
Yeah,
You're
say
good,
hi.
man. You're good.
What's the typical opening line you get? Because on Bumble, if people don't know, a dating app,
they're
at least it
great.
was years ago.
Because girls
I tried
have
it.
never had to do this.
They
so
message
they're
first,
terrible.
right?
They'll complain. Yeah. So Bumble is girls go first, and of course women will complain. Oh, this guy. What's your pickup line? And then theirs is, hi.
Wait, do they do that though? Do you ever get the first message of them telling you to give them a good pickup line? Have you ever gotten that one where it's like, wait, that's not how this works. Like, if you message me first, you can't message me first to tell me to message you something first.
You can't be this lazy. Do you want the world to change? Let's change the world. You got to be part of it, though.
You got to pick me up. Hi.
You got to give me a corny pickup line that also makes me want to sleep with you.
Yeah.
Do the Do the bare minimum of look at my profile and say something from it.
Mm-hmm.
Reference,
even if it's I like your mustache. Pretty easy.
Yeah, and then sometimes I'm kind of like a jerk. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to be kind of an a-hole back to you. Even if they're not trying at all. There's one chick that's like, so if you could only eat, which would it be, tacos or sushi? And I was like, so I'm kind of being jokey, but I'm just kind of like, go jump off a bridge, to her, and she just unmatches.
Can you
right away.
message her the link to our live stream right now?
Yeah. Can you just do that with all the matches? We need some viewers.
Yeah.
Even if it's like just like peaks.
You're not going to get that many more viewers through my Bumble account.
But the thing is, this would be a great way for people to get to know the real you, though.
Oh, we just went up to 4 on YouTube. Maybe
Meet the nerds.
Because they can.
By the way,
you
were perfectly lined up with your Funko, your Doc Holiday Funko, which is really just you.
It's perfect.
It's like perfectly lined up right now.
A mini you right behind your shoulder. Yeah.
It was so pleasant. That was such a good pick, Nico.
Were we going to talk about DC Fandom? That was the big thing this week, was the release of the Snyder Cut trailer, or as Eric put it, is this just the Snyder Cut?
This girl already replied to me. Oh God, it's like live.
Get it?
Stage 5 clear. Oh my God.
I mean, yeah.
Saying good stuff? Is it good?
This would be a great story for the grandkids.
Remember that time?
Don't worry, we'll go on a date.
What's a podcast, Grandpa? Well, let me tell you. It's how your grandma and I met.
During the dark times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dark
stare at our
times.
feds through our computer laptop.
Now, my biggest complaint about the Snyder Cut trailer is that, okay, here's the thing. I really try hard. I make a lot of videos nowadays, and Brian can attest to the fact that, like, you've made a lot of stuff for me now with me at this point, with just like the side business, but also just together. Yeah. We're always striving to be as original and unique as possible as filmmakers. And he just rips the same song off as in Watchmen. He just pulls the Hallelujah song out of Watchmen and he throws it onto his trailer, and it's like, you kidding me, bro? Like, come on. You've got unlimited resources. You could have had an original song written for you, and this is what you do?
Well, but here's the thing,
annoying.
too. I feel like the Hallelujah, it's probably the nod to that, but I think it's also going, this is like a dream come true for all these people that wanted a Snyder Cut. This is the pat on the back, and we did it. That's why they picked that freaking song, is, the impossible is happening. We can watch the same crap, but crap that wasn't released in the theater.
That wasn't released for a reason.
Just some more crap.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I did, well, like I watched half of it. It felt like it was like 45 minutes. But,
if you got people only watching half of your trailer, you've done something wrong.
I was like, are people crapping on it? And is all the people praising it? They were all like, I hope I survived the pandemic till 2021. I'm like, oh boy, you're putting a lot on this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't
You're
watch
gonna
it.
be maybe they won't be disappointed. I don't know. Whatever.
It's just super long because it's a mix of stuff we've already seen, which is unfortunate, which I guess is necessary but unfortunate. But then it's a mix of some of the parts that were specifically mentioned as being different. So they show Steppenwolf with his new costume, with his folding metal Iron Man costume. They show Apocalypse. They show Green Lantern, which is a sneaky one.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
But there's a scene where
I didn't notice it because I was
Spider-Man
puking.
is coming, or not Spider-Man.
Careful.
Yeah, they really went all out, guys. Spider-Man's
mashup.
in it. No,
the Millennium Falcon flies in. Why not?
USS Falcon prize.
Everything.
I think I saw
don't care
Firefly
anymore.
in there.
They had
Yeah.
to ask Marvel for help on this one.
Right.
Can we borrow
So,
Spider-Man?
Superman is flying out of some flame, and you see like a green wisp sneak across the screen.
Let's see.
And then, but yeah, it's a super long trailer where I think they actually showed, I think they showed the same scene twice, but once was as we've seen it, and then the second time was with like the new stuff in on top. Like I think it's the scene with Apocalypse where he's slamming his weapon down. That is the exact same scene, but with Steppenwolf from the original cut. And I think they show Steppenwolf going meh, and then like a second later, it's Apocalypse going meh. Like it's the same thing.
Well, they didn't have much. They got to come up with something.
Yeah, and but they did show like the Flash component, like the Flashpoint, where he travels through time, which cool. They showed his little interaction with his wife, where he saves her from the car wreck. That's cool. They showed that there's going to be more Cyborg and the death of his
him
father.
playing football. That wasn't in the movie, was it?
It was like a clip, like when they were showing like the Who is Cyborg, and they said he's a former football player, and they cut to him like jumping in a football helmet. That's it,
and nothing else.
That's
just a football. helmet.
That's all.
But yeah, they show his dad getting disintegrated and stuff like that. So they did show some of the stuff that I think was part of like the rumor mill. It's almost like they went to like a Reddit and just grabbed like people's subject lines and then cut the trailer to match the subject lines of a subreddit.
But even the editing, they have the luxury of going, what do these people want?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how we're going to make it.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy the bit at the end. I don't know why it kind of gave me a little bit of chills when they were like, when Batman was giving everybody their little pep talk, he's never fought us, united. I was like, oh, it kind of like gave me like all the feels. But maybe I was just exhausted. The trailer got me emotionally exhausted because it was so long. So I was just like, whatever, man.
United.
Yeah, I didn't make it to Batman.
Yeah. He has some words at the end.
So
I didn't watch the trailer. Should I watch it right now?
Yeah, watch it right now. Let's get your reaction to it. Let's find out what you think.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the whole
We
thing.
could talk about the Cats-esque version of Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh, I haven't
where
seen
people immediately tweeted, "Show us the butthole cut," because they show some Chitara stuff with Kristen Wiig, and then immediately was hashtag "Show us the butthole cut."
Is there a cat's butthole cut?
They say there is.
They say there is. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Do you think about the poor animator who was like, guys, I got it. I got a big movie. I'm going to animate it. They're like, great. So we're going to need 4 buttholes by noon. And one of them's a little older.
And there was no mocap. Yeah, one of them's floppy.
What'd you work on? Don't say cats. Don't say cats. Don't say cats. Cats. Oh, really? What'd you do? You're not going to see it. It was cut, unfortunately. Sorry.
All of it.
I had to go frame by frame and digitally paint.
I love it.
Dame Judi Dench's cat butthole. Because they wouldn't do motion capture, so I had to go frame by frame.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Just rotoscope.
And it wasn't 24 frames a second. It was 60.
Thanks a lot, Peter Jackson.
And she pops her leg up for 10 minutes.
That's 600 frames.
I think that I don't know how it'll come through on the live stream, but I would like to watch the Batman trailer. I haven't watched that yet. So.
It's so good.
Really?
Is it?
It is
I
good.
was like,
Oh, so you're not
I
being
was
sarcastic?
stoked.
gave me
Okay.
No, it's
zero
I'm
interest.
encouraged. I had a
good.
feeling it was going to be fine.
Who's directing this movie?
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves.
Who's that?
He's a DC person.
Yeah,
Planet
I
of
was
the Apes.
He's done other crap. Hasn't he?
I was
Oh,
I
he
was
did
nervous
Flash.
with the casting of
Oh, yes,
Pattinson,
gotcha.
but then in hindsight, it was like, that's just a Twilight reaction. Pattinson's fine. Like he'll be lovely.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna. Hi, Grimmy.
I gave Kermit his castaway sweater.
Oh, you lost me. I was like, I had a train of thought.
Yep,
Derailed.
that's it.
It's gone.
What did you just say before Kermie? What were you talking about?
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
No, Pat,
Pattinson,
being
yes.
mad at Pattinson because of Twilight, but then realizing he's a
Okay,
stellar
so
actor.
I've never
Going-
seen any of the Twilight movies ever, but some,
Oh, you got to watch one of them at least. What's that last one?
Eclipse or
I came across a clip on. Sometimes when you're scrolling
Yeah,
and there's
like
there's
Dawn,
like
Breaking Dawn 2 or some crap.
movie apps, movie trailers. They'll be movie apps or channels will advertise like on your stream, but it'll just be like a clip from a movie.
right.
And so this particular clip was all of the people from Twilight playing baseball. Is that real? Is that real?
It's
Did
in
that
the-
really
that's in
happen in the movie?
First movie.
Why?
She meets the family, and they're all like, they're not really a family. It's just like the dad vampire, like,
Yeah.
brings them together and tries to make them good.
So
they,
that's real.
not
That's
be
something
terrible.
that they filmed and
they
made
go
and made
play
people
baseball.
watch.
And they use their superhuman vampire strength to play super baseball.
I
It's
can't even-
hilarious.
But they can
It's
only do it in a
amazing.
thunderstorm because them hitting the ball is so
Right.
fucking loud. They have to hide it in thunderclaps.
ignoring the physics of that, whatever.
I can't even.
So I watched the
understand why that
trailer.
exists. What'd
All
you
right.
think?
I don't have any new feelings. It still looks like a bad Zack Snyder Justice League movie.
Right, it's a lot of slow mo.
It does seem like they reshot a lot of that movie because a lot of it seems like stuff we haven't seen. Yeah, there's a couple things I recognized, but they must have reshot a lot of that movie. I still don't. It still looks like crap. I'm sorry, it does. Like, I do not like his style of Batman and Superman at all. And yeah, I'm gonna feel the same way about it. Probably, I'm gonna watch it out of morbid curiosity. But yeah, it's just
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
It's not take my money. It's
But what it does is it makes me wonder, like, what kind of a massive narcissist is Joss Whedon that there's that much of a film that he didn't use. Like, there's
I
so
think they
much
told
of a
him to do
movie.
that.
Really?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they specifically brought him from Marvel to.
I'm pretty sure that was
Marvel-wise
what he was
that
hired
movie.
to do.
But if there's 5 hours worth of 5 1-hour episodes of a movie that already exist in the can, like, that's a lot of movie.
Is that
to-
confirmed?
Well,
that it's
I don't know if it's
going to be
confirmed, but
they are going to do it episodically, that is confirmed.
okay.
I just don't
It's
even
going to be
understand.
weird, man.
Yeah. How?
Uh,
How?
I'm
but-
just gonna watch Teen Titans Go.
But I watched the
Stupid
Batman
Sergeant
trailer,
said.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, thank God we have a good Batman movie coming again.
I'm gonna watch it.
It
I
just
see
looks
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and I heard you guys talking about Robert Pattinson. Yeah, the whole Twilight thing, but like, I kind of love what that guy's done with his career.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
done some solid movies.
Oh,
and
yeah.
but when they cast him, of course, there was a backlash. I'm like, no, he's pretty damn talented, and he can do the dark thing. Like, no, he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because the thing I didn't pick up from it was, what would you call it? Like Batman Decade. I think it's young Batman. I think it's
Year
newly-
2 is what they're saying.
okay. Yeah, it's
Like year
it's-
2 of him being Batman.
Yeah, it's because it definitely has some raw edges around it. Where obviously casting him young, like
Mhm.
Ben Affleck's supposed to be gray Batman of like I'm ready to retire, getting too old for this.
He's been doing it for 20 plus years, kind of thing.
Right. So it's definitely like he's not going to be perfect. He's going to be flawed, and I do like the that it's not cartoony, like that. There's makeup, but it's what like a crazy person would do makeup, or like they've got the scene where that lady's got her face like duct taped with something written on it, and it just looks really raw, like gritty. I like that look of it.
So
it's noir detective-ish, but it definitely leans more back towards the Nolan verse.
Yeah. In order for me to watch it, we have to watch it together. You want because it's going to play. Do you guys want to watch it together?
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Let's do it.
Are we going to get just sound?
What's that?
Are we going to get just sound?
You're going to get just sound. Oh, I can bring it up. I can bring it up over here. Which version do we want to look at? If you search for Batman trailer on YouTube, you get quite a few.
It's Batman trailer. I think so.
Let's do right now. Let's do the Batman official trailer DC fandom version.
Yeah,
it's got 3.3 million views.
Yeah,
probably it.
Trailer.
Yeah, I'm encouraged. That's what I'm going to say.
Right.
Yeah, so, I was pretty happy.
This is the one that added farts. So yeah, let's do that.
It's leather pants fart.
All right, you ready? It's going to be on the screen. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Oh, it's amazing.
Whoa! Are you going to share the screen or?
Yeah. It's on. It's.
Right.
Are we gonna get flagged on YouTube for this?
I don't think so. We'll find out. Oh, can
it's
you
a
guys
learning
not see
experience.
They're gonna be like, you have 2 viewers. We're fine.
Yeah. We're not that concerned.
As long as it is an artistic satire and educational discussion, I think we're inside of the fair use area.
Make enough parts.
Having a clue. Let's play a game. Just me and you.
I'm watching on my phone.
Yeah. Try to fill with dead air.
Is it going?
Yeah. It's playing. You'd have to stream it. You'd have to watch this on YouTube.
Oh.
Why is he writing to you?
I see. Matt Jackson's on the 9th green. He's got a look of contemplation.
Oh, he's smiling.
But there's
this
a smile.
Good.
Wait. Oh. The eyes are darting back and forth, showing recognition.
Is that Catwoman?
It is Catwoman.
Nice.
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz. Oh. He approaches the ball.
There's a pretty good cast in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm vengeance.
Is Bernard in this? Is he
What?
Gordon? What's his name from Westworld? Is he
Yes.
Gordon?
Yeah.
Bernard. Yeah.
Bernard.
Cool
All
Batmobile.
right.
Yeah. The antagonist is the Joker.
No, the Riddler.
No, sorry, the Riddler.
He's the main villain, but the Penguin is also in it.
The Quizler. It's a new character.
Nice.
Okay, what do you think?
I'm into it. That looks great. I mean, I love Pattinson, and I think I agree. His career has been just fantastic to watch. Kind of where he's gone with it.
He's made some very smart choices since
Definitely.
Twilight.
Yeah, it's good.
Cedric Diggory.
That's right. C. Diggs.
That's great. Looks great.
You understand what I'm like the dirtiness, the rawness of it. It looks a little gritty, a little nothing. It's not clean and polished like a comic book version of it would be.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when
Andy
you like
Serkis is playing Alfred. Oh, interesting. So I kind of saw him pop up there, but I couldn't quite understand the context that he was.
I like that shot they show in the trailer where he just beats the crap out of that dude.
Yeah.
And it's like it's pretty raw. It's pretty brutal.
And Jeffrey Wright as Gordon. Get out of here. That's Well, yes,
Colin
please.
Farrell is the Penguin in this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm all the way in.
The cast is pretty good.
I'm all the way in, as the kids would say.
As the kids say.
Yeah.
It's like
I thought first you'd say, who's the comedian, the deadpan Stephen Wright? What's his name?
Yeah.
If he was Gordon.
Right.
Trying to think of a.
Yeah, trying to do a Stephen Wright.
There's
But,
some guys breaking the law out there. You're probably going to want to go get them. I mean, that's your job, right?
the suit's pretty
So,
cool too. I'm down
Do
with
you
it.
carry a bat, or why are you Batman?
But see, that's an actual trailer.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's a real trailer. Like the Snyder Cut trailer is just a smattering of visual images floating on
highlight
a
reel.
song that's carrying the poorly executed trailer.
The song choice for the Batman trailer is much better
Yeah,
too.
cool. Well, the whole, I mean, there's
What's
some
that
moments,
one?
man.
What is it? I can't remember.
Something in the way. It's a Nirvana song.
Oh,
Yes,
very-
it's covered and stylized.
Covered, yeah.
But
I would have done ABBA, but that's just me.
Mamma Mia? Is that ABBA? I don't know.
Money. Oh, so funny. Yeah, because he's
Should have
rich.
just done the Bee Gees
See,
"Staying
that's
Alive."
that's such a thing in movie trailers now. Take a popular song that's happy poppy, or like a grunge song, and then cover it with lots of piano dings, and make it sad. What was that rock movie where he was trying to save people from California falling into the ocean? And
That's like
And-
three.
yes.
He's done it like 3 movies.
the sad
one with
version
the
of
monkey?
Californication. Dream of California, and it's like really minor key, and just like
Mellow. Yeah.
I'm still not gonna watch it, but good try.
I watched it.
What's her name?
Yeah, was it awesome? What's
What's her
No, it wasn't awesome.
Alexandria
Daddario.
Daddario.
oh
It was the one of the girls that Woody
Baywatch?
Harrelson was cheating on his wife with in the first season of True Detective.
Yep.
She was also in Baywatch.
she was going out with him.
Not in
Well,
the show.
in the show. It was like
her character.
Oh, I thought you meant in real life. Yes.
no,
I
it was
remember
like
that.
the first girl he cheated on his
Oh,
wife
yeah,
with in
that's
the first
right.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then wait,
And she's
yeah.
in the Percy Jackson movies.
Yes, that's right.
I know that.
Percy Jackson and the Sorcerer.
I'm a real
Had
peahead.
fun career. Yeah.
How's
What
the
there's also we joked about Wonder Woman, but there was a James Gunn featurette on Suicide Squad, which looked pretty good too. I wasn't mad at the first Suicide Squad. I had issues with the first Suicide Squad. I wasn't mad at it though.
It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't like it for a lot of reasons.
I had it on the TV in the background, but it was like on cable. I wasn't really watching it because I was working on a project, so I can't really say I watched.
You missed nothing. There was just that moment
Yeah.
in when they're all standing outside, like getting their gear on and putting their guns in, and yeah, they gave the line to Will Smith, and he tried. God bless him, he tried to execute it. And
I wonder, was he like, "You got to pay me this much more if you want me to say, what is this?
The title line?
Suicide Squad."
like that's in his contract. If you're gonna make me say the title of the movie, you're gonna pay me because it's not gonna go well. Yeah, I just couldn't because I like David Ayers. At least I thought I
no,
did.
you're doing this. This is Margot Robbie, and this is you.
Yeah.
This is Margot Robbie. No, you're saying the line, and we're gonna pay you a little less now just because you asked. He's like,
That's what he's like.
right.
I'm gonna do this movie called Focus on getting Margot Robbie so that our trains do this now.
"Sure, let me see.
Still.
Let me see if we can have this."
Yeah, a little pick me up. That's just terrible. But speaking of David Ayers, I rented The Tax Collector, the Shia LaBeouf movie.
Oh,
where he
yeah.
plays a gangster. Made it through 7 to 9 minutes before I was like, nope, I'm good. We talked about
This is the tattoo one.
yeah, that cheesy look of medium to high budget Christian movies. That's what this looked and felt like. Like all the light was manufactured. All of it looked, and it was just. And it started out, the first 10 minutes of the movie feels like it takes place like in one of the main characters, families, like they're cooking breakfast and being family, and it's real bad. And the light, the way it's shot, it's just so bad. It's just, I couldn't do it.
That's too bad.
Even the Shia LaBeouf bits, he was great in the bit that I did watch, but I was like, ugh, I'll watch something else. That's when I started Lovecraft Country. So, right. Yeah, it was brutal. Don't even bother. So that was,
I think if
$5.99
anything,
down the drain.
I'll give DC this credit for doing the fandom.
Great
They're
idea.
they're reaching out, like
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to re-engage people. So I give them full beans credit for doing this and just saying, like, even if this stuff was cobbled together, we gotta reinvigorate excitement, because
Mm-hmm.
their year is gonna tentpole on Wonder Woman, and it's probably gonna kill in the theater if it ever gets there. But they're banging a lot of 2020 on Wonder Woman,
Oh yeah.
and so they had
It's
to.
the only thing they do that's
2021.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're
I mean,
did
what
it
is it now? Yeah.
get pushed again?
I mean, it's going to.
You think
It's
so?
not like magically things. I always we're like, oh, I think
Well, so,
it's a couple months. We're
yeah.
gonna
So
be
let's talk about
fine.
that. So
Yeah.
this weekend,
Yeah.
at least here in Las Vegas, the theaters are open, like new content open.
Wow.
So this weekend, I need to figure out the timing, but New Mutants, which we talked about, is coming out. But it's a superhero horror film. So people that are going to go see it are going to be severely disappointed if they think they're going to go see a superhero movie, because it's a
Right.
superhero.
Just think
horror
Game of
movie.
Thrones, but
Super
superheroes. And
Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited to get back in the theater. I definitely want to see this movie. I wanted to see it when I first heard about it. I think this is going to slowly start to be that, can we get stuff back in the theater stuff, because you've got
How
this
much
coming out.
money are we gonna
Mhm.
lose?
Right.
If
You got this coming out on Friday. You have Tenet coming out in limited release on Monday,
Okay.
which then
is
means August 31st is a limited release of Tenet, but only in IMAX theaters, which is like it's a double shoot.
Oh
in the
yeah,
face.
that's a great plan. After a pandemic, let's only release it in IMAX. What's wrong with you?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of those,
Wide
like,
release,
you know what,
go.
that's a mistake you can make, and that's fine. It's not my money.
Yeah.
But I think New Mutants and then Tenet. And I know it was hilarious. The Bill and Ted's Part 3 is out,
Nice.
but then there's also like Unhinged and some other like kind of art house action that we're like, well, we've got it and it costs nothing to distribute, so here you go. But I think what the next 3 weeks is really going to show is, when can these movies start to leak out?
Mhm.
Because I think DC is definitely going to put Wonder Woman in the theaters. I will make a prediction now that Mulan makes a ton of money, but gets a ton of flack for the way it does it.
Mhm.
Where you not only do you have to pay for Disney Plus, you also then jump another $30
Mhm.
on top of it. So it's going to financially be fine.
Or
but
it creates a completely new model. There's that option too. Go
Yeah,
see it in the theater and spend $70 with your family to see it, or spend $30 at home for your family to see it.
For
So
families,
there's that.
Right.
it
And that's
probably doesn't
why I
make a
think
ton of
it's
sense.
right.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's going to be. That's why I know it's going to make money. Is
Yeah.
because I have a friend who has 6 kids, who
Going
is
to the
just
movie
like,
theater.
he's just like, thank you, Disney, for putting it out. I've heard nothing but, when is Mulan here? And even if it's $30, that is the cost of just popcorn
Right.
when we go to the theater.
Yeah.
So thank you. But for people like me, I'm like, nah, man,
Go to his
Oh, wait.
house.
well, yeah, right. Well, he lives in Louisiana.
I'll bring
which is
the
probably
popcorn.
underwater, blown over right now. So, good thoughts to the people of Louisiana who are sitting in this hurricane
Yeah.
right now. I don't know if you guys saw. I posted that thing I posted on Facebook today.
Was that real?
It's from weather.com. The unsurvivable title, or
Unsurvivable.
Yeah.
it said unsurvivable
Oh my god.
water wave or whatever the hell it was. Just I blacked out after unsurvivable, because it wasn't like The Onion or something. That was weather.com.
But then I think that it had a Chick-fil-A ad underneath it. So it was kind of like, but if you're hungry,
Now you know what my search
get a
habits are.
sandwich.
Unsurvivable flavor.
Yeah. But it will create a new model, I think, but it's not going to be a model for every movie. Not
Yeah.
everybody is going to pull the Mulan dollars. But I think you think about Marvel is sitting on Black Widow, so that's another Disney property. Like, are they going to take
Yeah.
Mulan as the benchmark for Black Widow?
They are. I think. Yeah, I think they're going. Mulan's the one we can play this out on and see
Because
how
they know
it
it's
goes.
safe.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to say it, it's
Yeah.
so mean, but like, that is a safe bet
Yeah.
for $29.99 for Disney Plus streaming to be like, is this viable? I can tell you right now, it's viable.
Yeah.
But is it a repetitive pattern for everything you want to do? I don't think so. I don't think Mulan is going to draw the same. It's just not demographically. It's not the same crowd as Black Widow.
Right.
Black Widow is supposed
similar.
to be
There's
like
some crossover.
Sparrow type thing. Like it's a little darker, a little grittier. So I don't know. It's like the next 3 months are going to be exciting and fun because we're going to start getting into November, which was supposed to be Bond.
Oh yeah,
we're waiting on
because that was all the summer stuff.
Yeah, I had a list here at one point. I think I threw it away out of anger, but it was just all the stuff that I was waiting for and wanted to see, and then just became like a sometime.
Is it
I'm
Daniel
not
Craig
even
Bond?
Keep track of it.
I don't think the theaters are even open here still because like I might try to go watch Tenet. I'd brave and go to the theater with a mask on, but F1 is going again, so I'm okay. So
speaking of, Brian, are you a Formula One driver now?
No.
Because we saw you started a new job on Facebook, but I didn't ask you yet because I want to talk about it on the podcast.
It's funny you mentioned that because they're texting me. I do the RC cars and I do rock crawling competitions. Well, I got sponsored.
What?
Oh, hey.
Yeah, I got. I'm a sponsor. I'm a team driver. For the.
Bravo.
I'm sponsored by a company called Shift RCS. They make the steering servos that control the front wheels. He's just texting me. He just sent me a picture of a shipping label because he's sending my first batch of servos to me.
Nice. That's cool,
that's
man.
cool. Congratulations.
So is it
thanks,
races? Did you get to go into now, or how does this work?
No, they're courses. They're what it is basically the courses. They're rock crawling courses, and they have 10 gates, and there's like a left and a right marker, and you have 6 minutes to get through them, and it's kind of like golf. When you progress a gate, you get -2 points, but if you hit a gate or reverse or have to use a winch, it's positive. So whoever has basically the lowest score wins.
Okay, gotcha. So you get assessed points for having to use certain ways to get through it, and the people who get through smoothest basically win.
Yeah, and their time
points or penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like
so is there the answer is probably yes. Is there a YouTube channel that you can watch? Because marble circuit racing is over for a little bit, so I need a new YouTube feed.
There are so many YouTube channels about it and so much to watch.
Gotcha.
There's like the scale model side of it that people get into where how I got into it, because I used to race the cars for I've done that since I was a little kid. I was kind of getting burnt out, and I stumbled on this on YouTube by accident. And I started out we would go out. We have so many like nice parks around here that have big, gigantic rock formations. And I started out, which I still do this, but we would just go and we just drive our trucks and try to climb up stuff. And then it turned out there was competitions. So I started doing that. And that's kind of more what I do mainly anymore, but I do that several times a month. But they look like, well, okay, here we go. Show and tell.
Yeah. Let's see it.
This is my main one. It, looks like a truck.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I don't know if I can.
Oh, wow.
No, you're good.
It's
I
big.
get to scale with the Funko. That helps.
Yeah. I have three. I have
more than one.
Do you have are there parameters that you're like, it can only have this much clearance and it can be only this long and wide?
Yeah, there's a
NASCAR.
whole thing, and there's different classes. Like there's a class 1, which a class 1 is supposed to look like a regular street legal vehicle. Class 2 is like a modified street vehicle, which that's what that one was I just showed you. And class 3 is a fully purpose-built off-road vehicle, which is this one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's got a guy in it.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you about that. So part of the scoring system is because they're scale vehicles is you have what's called scale points. So you get points for a driver, points for a passenger, points for an interior, points for winches, points for little 3D printed scale accessories that don't do a damn thing. Yeah, this is incredibly nerdy, by the way. But
Oh, it's deep.
Oh, I love it. I
it.
love miniatures. Yeah.
yeah, I
So
mean, it's
the more
totally up
flair
your
you
it's
throw
totally
into
up
it.
your guys' alley.
Title of the show.
But so yeah, I've been doing that, and I think honestly, what got me sponsored was 2 weeks ago there was a big competition, and I won one of the classes. So I have a feeling that's probably what did it. I won it with my class 3, that one I just showed you guys.
So what's the deal though? Like, why are you holding out on us? I've never seen you do any of this. Like, I know the three of you guys
Is
better
there
than most
YouTube?
people, and I've never seen you do any of this before.
I don't know. I just never post about it because I
Well, now
I
you're
don't know, like
sponsored. You
me.
better. Yeah.
no, now I have to.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, actually, I signed a contract and everything. It's crazy.
Wow, that's super cool, man.
But yeah, I don't know. I just never post about it because I think a lot of people probably think it's super weird, and I'm always very like conscious of like what I do professionally, like for money. So I try to protect that, I guess. Which
Gotcha.
not that this would hurt it, but I just I don't know. I try very hard to protect what you post online because with what I do for a living, and I don't want to like harm my livelihood.
I think if anything, it would help because the thing is like people love and gravitate towards passion. You know what I mean? And so when you're like living and speaking your truth and exactly what it is that sort of makes you you and what makes you light up, that's the thing that like is the most powerful stuff, you know? And so it's an aspect of you that's clearly very important, but not only that, like you're clearly good at it. And so it's like amazing to kind of like share that with people because I mean who knows, like look at what you're capable of. You can have this whole career in film and now you've got this other sort of sub career in doing RC cars. I mean, we just had an episode of not that long ago where we talked for like 90 minutes about marble racing, so I think that there's a lot of interests out there that people are super into. So no man, I think it's like something that I would love to see more of and hear more about.
Well, too, it's family friendly.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
have a separate Instagram account too. That's just the crawler stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Outta here.
But no, I put it as a career or job on Facebook because they told us obviously we have to post about it on social media, and one of the other new drivers because they added 13 new guys this round, and he did that. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that too.
People say the economy's going down. Look at this. You got 13 new hires in your car racing.
And like I mean I don't
because all their businesses died.
Yeah. All right. No one's doing
I
anything.
need something to do.
That's great.
Race.
But no, I just kind of like because my friend, a good friend of mine, has been sponsored by them for a while, and they posted on Facebook that they were going to get new team drivers, and he was like, "You should apply." I was like, "Yeah, I will," but there's no way in hell, and I did. So
that's super cool, man. Congrats.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
We'll have to talk more about that in the future because I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fun stuff.
If you guys really want to watch it on YouTube, a good like jumping off point, just Google or go to YouTube and type in Axial Fest.
Okay.
It's this gigantic, which obviously got canceled this year, but it's a gigantic meeting. It's in Northern California. There's like 4,000 people show up. That's not so much the competition side. That's more just like it's like a 3 or 4 day event, and people just run. Just there's a big area where they set up like courses. It's not a competition, but it's courses for people to drive.
More like showing off your cars and stuff.
Yeah, it's especially that part. If you like all the model part of it, you guys would love that part. But you can also type in the governing body is called SORCA. You can Google that and can see some of the competitions and stuff.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my dad's a pilot, so we used to go to a lot of air shows. And when I was a kid, my favorite part of air shows, hands down, was the scale models of planes. But we're talking like scale, like I built a B-17 1/4 scale, so it's still huge, but it's radio control and it's got little men in it and stuff like that. Like that stuff was always super cool. But that's cool, man. Tell us more like down when it's all happening. That's super cool. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Axial.
AXIAL. That's like the biggest manufacturer.
Cool.
Of it.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. So, no, I love it, man. That's cool. Congrats on that. That's
No,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that our interests are so wide ranging and different, and I love, hearing about it. We should talk about that stuff. It's cool. And people out there who,
makes us smoking hot.
Yeah, exactly. Smoking hot Kermies and sweaters. Was that the sweater that he was wearing in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember the movie very well.
Yeah, here, I'll pull up an image.
Yeah.
Of the sweater I had to recreate using 2 other sweaters. And I'm gonna go pass out.
Yeah. We can wrap up the Smoking Hot Nerds After Dark. Nerds After Dark.
Nerds After Dark.
We're gonna have to call it. Yeah. I mean, I think also.
Would it be like Nerds After Really Dark? Because then it could be Nards.
So,
Nards.
One of the things. So Sarah really liked your suggestion, 4 Buttholes by Noon. So we could actually name it that.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Oh, nice.
So there's myself out of the sweater, and then here's my recreation.
That's awesome.
Using 2 different sweaters. Yeah, it came out pretty well.
Yeah, really good. For those who don't know, it's because you're making for the film fest there in Boston. You have to make a scene from Castaway with Muppets.
So yeah, it's a crowdsource of Castaway. They do a different film every year, and so they break up the movie into maybe 40 different scenes, and then different groups tackle a scene. And I went, "Oh, sure, I'm busy, but I'll do it because it's just Castaway, and it'll just be Tom Hanks in a volleyball." And then they gave me the scene where he's on the airplane into the beginning of the crash.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, all the shots, and it's in the cockpit. There's the readouts on the they have the Doppler, they have the radar. It's so much happens, and water comes into the fuselage at the end of my part, and I'm just
wow.
Are you gonna go full beans on the readouts, or are you gonna go the version of grabbing a box of Christmas twinkle lights and just having them blink, blink, blink?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing. Oh, I think I'd shown. Yeah. So when I did the Back to the Future one, I had already done this where I layer up.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so it's I have a black piece of paper here, so that it's going to be 3 layers. It'll be the Doppler on the back, and then I'll have the cutout of the panel, big panel.
Yeah. Over that.
But then sandwiched in between that, there will be a couple other things some that looks like screen, and then also some black paper that can be turned.
Nice. Awesome.
So that it will reveal the radar underneath.
Gotcha. That's cool. That's gonna be
Can I have the DeLorean dash?
Oh yeah.
I think you subtly asked for that a couple episodes ago.
No, you did. I can also send you. I think I still have the Photoshop file. So
really?
I had to go through and actually, because I would find it and people were changing the dates, and I had to recreate this so I got the actual times and dates that are in the movie.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
So even that took hours. I'm just so stupid. I'm so dumb to do these things. I love them, but I'm so busy right now, and I'm making a airplane interior with a bathroom and a cockpit. And I'm dressed Muppets.
You are allowed to say no. Or to be like, I can't do this anymore. I
refuse to not be crazy about it. I will fall flat on my face.
Could phone it in, but you
job.
Can't.
Yeah.
But I cannot phone it in because I go, well, this is what my soul wants to do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna burn because I gotta have this in my life, and then I'll make it. And I will have made it so big, and I will go, that's not what I wanted. That's why the Star Wars thing doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
And I came to terms with that. I think, Matt, you were like, Eric, just make it. And I'm like, no, that's why I'm not. That's why I keep pushing it.
Yeah.
Because I go, that's the thing that I don't want to make. And then go, ugh.
Yeah.
Not happy with that. And then I don't show it to anyone. So I'm like, that's the one that I don't want to sacrifice.
Right.
I'm gonna make that one perfect.
See,
even if it never gets made.
I'm on the other side. I say just make it, put it out, and then just in the correct course. I mean, Drumstick Man is out there. Like, there's a lot of things out there that we made early that,
all my other stuff though. But I'm saying that's the one I'm holding back because
That's
I want
the one that you want to
really be good.
So
I want to be proud of it myself.
Right.
Yeah.
All this other stuff I make and I put passion into it, but all the limitations make it where it's like, okay, I came out and I drop it like nothing.
Yeah,
and I can go back
those
years
are all
later
learning
and
experiences. This is the production.
That's the one that I'm doing for myself.
Yeah.
And I think I realized that. When you'd said that, I was like, why do I refuse to just make it and then make it better as I keep making episodes?
Right.
And that's the reason. I'm like, no, I want to finally have something that I go, there. That's what was in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even better because I had some help in the right way.
Yeah.
So that's my insanity. I'm learning to live with my craziness.
That's good. And then you're going to eventually get a Bumble girl to come along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Can your Bumble girl be on the podcast next week? Can she be a special guest?
That'd be great.
I think I have to have a first date first.
This could be your first date. Like,
okay, in 2 weeks.
If you date me, you date the four of us.
Yeah.
I only have like one night off a week, so we have to move pretty
There's the
slowly.
four of us, but you talk for all of us. It's your voice coming out of our mouths, you know?
Just like Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, let's try this face out now for a bit.
Whose face do you
What do you
want?
think of this face?
Mm-hmm.
Now, which voice? Okay, let's pair it. Okay, there you go.
We've all got you in our ear.
You want Brian with Nico's voice. Okay.
Do that.
Nice meeting you.
You want the RC car? Okay.
This will be a fun story to tell your friends later. Bye.
Yeah. Smell you later forever.
Give me 5 stars on Yelp.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for joining us for the Nerds After Dark.
The inaugural
Nerds After Dark.
Nerds Lost in the Woods Darkness episode
that we decided to do today.
I think it's great. because I love our new way of doing the movie for like 45 minutes to an hour. We wrap that up, but I like your idea, Brian. That's perfect. Where we'll go through the movie. We'll say your favorite part and your cringy part. And I think that can be interpreted other ways too. You know what I mean? Like the cringy part can be like, oh, I feel so bad for him, or it can be cringy.
Yeah, that's true.
Ugh, Bumblebee has
like
a terrible
anytime
voice.
somebody has to sing publicly when they don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a hard cringe. Every time.
Hard cringe. But I think it's great because then it gives a little depth, and also it's sort of interesting because when you listen, if there are shows that you do like on TV or podcasts, they tend to have like a hook that you kind of look forward to. When are they going to talk about the thing? So I think it's going to be
not
great.
just the moneymakers.
Yeah, I know. We're not just pretty faces, folks. We're also really, 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 really smart.
And nerdy.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Did you have something to say?
I was going to say, well, geeky.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough to be nerdy.
Yeah, geeky.
I'm geeky.
I love it.
Oh.
Smoking Hot Geeks.
From across the pond, then. The nerd pond.
We'll see you guys all next week with... I don't know what we're going to watch next week.
Let's talk about that later.
Dumb and trashy.
All right.
Nerds
good.
after dark.
Nerds after dark with something dumb and trashy coming at
Nerds
you.
when the sun comes up.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys next week.